Remember, a cup's usefulness is found in its emptiness. Aloha, shifters, multidimensional friends, holographic dreamers within this beautiful experience that we call life. This is Brendan, and you're tuned in for another very exciting, inspirational, educational, and entertaining live broadcast edition of a Paradigm Shift team building broadcast. In particular, tonight being the very special full moon edition once again. So thank you guys so much for being here. Again, these broadcasts are a part of ParadigmShiftCentral.com, a real world interactive game to help shift consciousness. And so that is essentially what it is that we're doing here tonight. We got a couple shifters with us right off the bat. So maybe I can at least invite Michelle and Dylan, or at least just Michelle, to make some noise and just say hello. So Michelle, join me in making some noise. Perfect. Thank you, Michelle. And welcome back as well, Michelle. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about what your experiences have been over the past couple of weeks on your adventure. So we'll get into that in the next moment. So perfect. All right. Thank you guys once again for joining in here. What it is that we are doing here, we are having a digital sacred space to be able to practice having not only metaphysical conversation, discussion about spirituality, the things that we don't normally get a chance to talk about. But in addition, we are also focusing our attention towards the ability of how we can help change the world through our own stepping into our own leadership, stepping into our own self-awareness, stepping into our potential as creators and conscious community facilitators. So for those who aren't familiar, I'll just give you a brief run through. ParadigmShiftCentral.com, as I mentioned, is a real world interactive game to help shift consciousness. And the way how that game works is that through the website, people connect through this collaborative media hub and practice creating conscious media as well as creating physical paradigm shift communities across the world. And we encourage people to do things related to shiftivism. Shiftivism can be thought of as planting seeds to intentionally help assist with the shift in consciousness. You can also think of Paradigm Shift Central, as it has continued to evolve in the recent evolution of the new upgrades within the website, as a conscious digital media production company. So what it is that we do, we come here and we talk as a team about media that we are creating, projects that we are working on. And then throughout the week, we continue to work on these, and we collaborate around social media tactics as to how we can get the content that we are sharing out to a global audience, and then in turn continue to build the audience for the entire network, for the entire team, so that everyone's voice is continued to be being heard, and then in turn our stories as co-creators continue to unfold in very exciting ways. So if you're watching this on YouTube, guys, please feel free to share the links, and if you're watching this through the main website, of course, you can jump in the live chat as well. And there's a lot to say in terms of things that have been going on and things that are new. And if you haven't yet, I would encourage you to go back and check out previous episodes related to the new upgrades on the website. But they are fully operational, they are running. And in terms of some basic updates, and then we'll get into some discussion, I'll just give you a brief overview of what to expect from this broadcast. Last week, or earlier in this week on Monday, we had our first shift teams work period. So within the project, we have what are known as shift teams, and shift teams can be thought of as different teams within this production company. Not all of them are necessarily related to production, it's more so related to community. And we have teams such as I'm just going to bring up the list here real quick, such as the animations team, the conscious articles team, the memes team, the dreams team, the mental health team, the mobile app team, the music team, the reality encyclopedia team, the social media tactics team, and the video production team. So what it is that we were doing on Monday is that we were literally broadcasting pretty much from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. as a work day. And then through the broadcast, we were able to just kind of do what we're doing here, but in a very kind of drawn out sense, where the broadcast wasn't always about trying to keep things like dialed into a specific topic, but rather literally just thinking of it as a virtual work desk for us as a team. So again, this project is an invitation for people to get involved as conscious media creators, and as an opportunity for us to be able to work together to be able to help get your content seen by more people, and to collectively help document the ongoing shift in consciousness. So that's some of the most recent things that we have been up to. And within this broadcast, what it is that we are doing, I will just say, first of all, we are getting into the habit of what it is that we are stepping into with these new broadcasts. And I think habit and ritual and ceremony is very, 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 very important when it comes to building community. For those of you who've been familiar in the past, you know that with these team building broadcasts, sometimes we would say, okay, like they're starting at 9, but that would be the show up time. And then we wouldn't start to like maybe 9:45, maybe 10 o'clock. It was always kind of up in the air. Whereas what we're doing moving forward is that we are creating a hard start time for 9:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless noted otherwise, for broadcasts on Thursdays. And even to put a hard time on the end, which will be 11:36 p.m. So that gives us 2 hours and start. And if people are wondering, like, why 9:36? Like, that's kind of, for me, like part of the ceremony is to kind of like begin it at 9:36 being like a very strong resonating frequency number for me. And I'll mention a little bit later, because tomorrow is a very, 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 very special day. Tomorrow, June 9th, is a very special day. And if you think about it for a second, I'm sure you can get it, but we'll get to that a little bit later in the broadcast. So for those of you who are listening to this and you guys want to be involved with this project, you guys want to be working together as this team that we are, know that moving forward, the broadcasts are at 9:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're one of the people who are joining the Hangouts, know this so that ahead of time you can show up at like 9:15 or 9:20 and you can get in the Hangouts right before we even start the broadcast. I'm happy to see this because we actually do have 5 people in the Hangout right now as we're getting into this. So this is great because this means that the habit is already being established, and this is going to continue to help bring in more ease and also optimization. And again, the idea behind setting a 2-hour limit also, it helps us as like the intention setters of this reality. It helps us sort of like really dial in to more potency and more sort of like conciseness, and allowing things to get less aloof in some ways, because sometimes we would be like, okay, yeah, maybe, you know, this broadcast will be 5 hours long, and then the conversations will just get drawn out. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and there will still be a time and a place for this. But moving forward, as part of the experiment, if we want to use that word, we're saying to the universe, like, okay, we're going to set a start point and an end point. And if the universe knows this ahead of time, the universe is like, all right, thanks for letting me know ahead of time. Now I can like help meet you halfway and start filling this in a way that's going to work for you guys. So it's really kind of this process of understanding that when you kind of create containers for the universe is like, oh, cool. Like, I'm going to jump in on that and I'm going to fill that in for you. For example, like for me, this is just related to like shiftivism. When I'm doing free hugs, sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm going to do free hugs and I'm just going to be in this one spot for a half hour. And I'll say that to myself ahead of time. And then when I say that, the universe is like, okay, like half hour to like get people to meet Brendan for doing free hugs. Like, let's do this. So it's like kind of this idea of thinking outside of just yourself as an individual, and realizing that through time, through the implementation of time, we can actually create containers. And this can be very effective for your work scheduling. You know, you can say like, okay, I'm going to work on this project from this point to this point. And sometimes that can be way more effective if you give yourself that time block and then take a break for 15 minutes or something, opposed to just saying, I'm going to work on it for however long. And then you might only get like half the amount of work done in a 4-hour period, opposed to what you could get done in a 2-hour period if you set your time frames. So this is just kind of like related to like how to become a productive worker / creator within this reality. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked out yet, check out the main website, and there's a lot of updates there. Again, just going back within this broadcast, we are using this space as a chance to check in as a team, as a chance to be able to share some of the things that we are doing in this moment of our life to help shift consciousness, some of the recent journeys that we have been on, a basic introduction of who you are within this chronological story of ourselves as a team, as a global team of shifters, of light guardians, of Jedi, of real world superheroes, of people who are helping change the world and working together in doing so. So we'll allow the conversation to unfold naturally in that way. Later on in the broadcast, we'll do a tarot card reading, and we'll also do a short meditation. And perhaps somebody here may want to guide the meditation. Otherwise, I'll be guiding it, and that will be later in the end. And again, also within the setting of the full moon, I also want to invite people to share any intention that they want to cast during this full moon. So, I mean, casting in the very literal sense of like casting a spell, casting an intention, putting it out there. Once we do that, it's a very, very powerful thing. So doing it as a community can kind of just like, again, emphasize and amplify what it is that we are creating as a sacred community circle. And not only that, but also like a portal that can help like amplify our collective and individual intentions as a group. So Thank you guys so much again for joining in. There's always more to check out. If you guys are on the main website right now and you guys are already have your member profile, jump in the chat and say hello there. And I'll keep an eye on the YouTube chat there. And again, if you're looking to join these broadcasts, what you're going to want to do is just go to live.paradigmshiftcentral.com. This is just one thing I'll mention at right now. If you're in the future and you know that it's like Thursday at 9:36 or whatever, and you don't have the specific link to the broadcast, just go right to live.paradigmshiftcentral.com and you'll see the link for the broadcast right at the top, and that will make it super easy for you guys. But if you guys want to be in Hangouts in the future, like literally in them, know that those are just exclusive, if I can use that term, for people who have created their shifter profiles through the website, through the game. So that just kind of helps like prevent like people from randomly joining who may not be entirely familiar with the project. And it just allows like the space to be kept open for people who are already involved with the project. So if you're looking to join the project, you're looking to join the team, and you even want to jump in this Hangout, you can do that. Just be sure to go create your profile first, or send me a private message and maybe I can send you the individual Google Hangout link, and you basically just need Google Hangouts. So with that said, in terms of updates and everything like that, there's a lot that I'm working on, and I'll just share real quick, and then I'd like to pass it off to Michelle because she may be heading out at some point. But again, before we even go into that, I just want to invite you guys to just join me in taking a breath here together as a team. So just inviting you guys to relax wherever you are, whenever you are. Just taking a moment here to just acknowledge the value of stillness, the value of silence. And in this moment, whether you're listening to it on the full moon or otherwise, I just want you to connect with the cooling energy of the moon, and just allowing, almost through your own visualization, the feeling of just gentle water running from the top of your head down your back and down your spine. And imagine that as being the cooling, loving, electrifying energy of the moon, of the full moon, just pouring its water onto you. So just allow that to mean whatever it means to you, and just be here in the next few moments, just in silence. So just connect with your breath and just be here now. Just one more gentle breath. So just allow yourself to continue to breathe, and allow this just calmness to allow you to be fulfilled in this moment. Calm and yet excited. That is how I am feeling. That is the energy that I am bringing into this circle. So allow yourself to continue to breathe. When you're ready, gently open your eyes, return your awareness to the space around you, or keep them closed, whatever works for you. So awesome. So again, thank you everyone for being a part of this. There's a lot that's happening in this project, and it's really beautiful, and we are still just continuing to grow, continuing to ramp up. There's been some new Quest journals and conscious articles on the website, and again, I encourage people to go and check those out. Shout out to Danny, shout out to Bren, shout out to Beth, some of the recent people who have submitted some of the content on the website. And again, part of how we play the game is actually by helping curate their content to reach a wider audience, inspire people, invite people back to the website, invite people to create in this co-creation process. And even, this is kind of like one of the many objectives, giving them the inspiration and the tools to create conscious community where they are, to create a paradigm shift community where they are, which again, at its very core, just focuses on open-minded discussion and meditation circles. So within the recent updates, I'll just share, you know, I do these broadcasts every Thursday, and then every Friday I go and I host my local paradigm shift meeting. Those are going great. We're getting new faces out, and the consistency of it is what makes it so successful. And we just do ours in an organic vegan cafe, and it's really beautiful. And I know that it's making a difference for people. You know, people really value the idea of just being able to talk and being able to be heard and being able to just like be a part of like whatever that moment needs to be. So those are going good. Basic update on that. Some other updates, and I can talk more about this later. I'm going to be working on a conscious movie review for Wonder Woman. If you guys haven't seen Wonder Woman, holy crap, go check out that movie. It is so freaking inspiring. It is so potent. It is so just ripe with conscious themes. So that's something I'm going to be working on in a little bit, and I'd love to hear any thoughts on other people who saw Wonder Woman. No spoilers, please. And in addition to that, I'm also in the midst of just working on another documentary that is part of my soul contract, I guess you could say. And it's a documentary. I'll just explain it real quick. Other videos I'm working on, I'm also working on the Mystic Spider-Man Free Hugs video. Stay tuned for that. That'll be coming out in the future. And I'm also going to be working on some new Quest journals and conscious articles I want to get to. But I'll just share this real quick, and then we'll get into passing the talk and stick around, because I feel it's meaningful what I recently was able to reflect on related to this project. For those of you who may not be entirely familiar, before I even began the Paradigm Shift Central project, there was already a movie that I made back in around 2010 that was actually a documentary about Canadian military. And now this story was actually a story that landed in my lap. You know, it wasn't something where like it was a project that my dad really set out to do, because he's always, me and him have always had this interest in military. And for me, military has always been this like spiritually potent theme for me. You know, it's not just like, oh, explosions and warfare and stuff like that. It's just like, it's a story about life and death. And good people trying to do good things in the midst of chaos. You know, warfare is a part of our life. It is a part of this reality on this planet. So some people, I understand them not wanting to look at it, but I think, you know, some spiritual people to be like, they might get confused or even put off by somebody who's spiritual, who can still be interested in warfare or war, you know. But again, I'm interested in the humanity of war, and just kind of like what that reveals about ourselves, and also how it is a pathway towards a deeper healing as well. By again, you know, the problem is the solution. So there's a documentary that I worked on a few years ago, and it was about a soldier who died in Afghanistan. And it was a very powerful documentary, and you know, I can talk a lot about that. But this next project that I'm working on is about more Canadian soldiers in Afghanistan, specifically the combat engineers. But what I want to mention to you guys is that there was a moment when these projects were on my lap, and I could feel a lot of resistance to them. I could feel myself be like, oh, like I didn't ask for this. Like I didn't want to do this project. Like this is, you know, like this is like more like my dad who like really kind of initiated all this, and then by happenstance I'm his son, and he's like, great, Brendan, you can edit this entire movie for me. I'm just like, yeah, okay, like sure, like I don't really have a choice, but you know. And then for a while I had this relationship where I was just like, I didn't feel like it was my choice to be editing these movies, specifically this recent one. And I was always kind of like, I'm like, yeah, it's cool, but I'm just like, my heart wasn't fully in it. And then one day I kind of like reflected. I'm just like, wait a second, like that kind of goes against like my own philosophy, my own insight. And then I kind of thought to myself, going back to the idea that what we do within this lifetime is related to a soul contract, is related to things that we have actually already agreed to do before we even came into this incarnation. And based on that simple idea, this documentary, like, and the last one, like anything that we're doing, but specifically related to this documentary, was something where I shifted my paradigm. And I'm just like, wait a second, like I chose to do this as a soul. Like this was something that I not only chose to do, but I agreed to do it, knowing that it may not be like the funnest thing for me to do. But I was like, okay, like I'm going to come into this incarnation and I'm going to be like a person who's familiar with technology. I'm going to be a techno shaman, a techno ninja, and I'm going to be able to edit movies. If you guys need a movie about like the entire like Canadian Afghan war experience and also the life and death, like I volunteer to help with that and stuff. And so like there was this contract between myself and my father, you know, both of us working together to be able to create this story, because it's a very meaningful story. And if we didn't tell it, it wouldn't have gotten told. And so for the people involved with this movie who have shared their story, again, about, you know, like their friends dying and how this war has changed them and you know, like what war is and everything, and just, again, not glorifying it, but just like bringing to focus, like just like it's freaking, it's so many things, and it's sad, and it's a tragedy, and it's just, but there's so much love in it. And that's one thing that I'm kind of really seeing, is that within this documentary, there's this bond of brotherhood between the soldiers involved that is so powerful and so unique. And I think there's something to be learned from that. And so, like, as I'm like as I've shifted my paradigm, I've been able to see more of this documentary in a way that is like resonating with me. So for me, that's something that I'm working on right now. Like, I have to get a version of that like out the to show in the next few days. So I'm like, after this broadcast, I'm going in and I'm editing that. But just that idea of, if there's things that you're working on in your life and maybe they've landed in your lap, check in with yourself. If you feel some sort of resistance to it, step back and ask yourself, did a part of me agree to do this? And what does it feel like to sort of say that to yourself? And when you sort of switch into that, what does it feel like to own that? What does it feel like to sort of be like, this is not a chore, this is a duty, and this is something that I am capable of doing. The universe doesn't give us anything that we can't handle. So in that sense, like, this project is like not easy, but I'm enjoying doing it because it's transforming me as well, and it's allowing me to step into my potential. There's a part of me that could just like drop this and walk away and be like, I don't want to do this. But there's the other part of me that says like, no, like I am choosing to do this. I take this up. I hold this up, not just for myself, but for the bigger story, for the shift in consciousness as well. So I'll just end it on that note. Again, there's more stuff that I'm working on. For those of you who are interested in the first movie, I'll tell you what it is. You can check out, and it's an award-winning Canadian documentary. Like, I won awards with it, so you know it's pretty cool and everything. But it's called If I Should Fall. So if you go to ifishouldfall.com, you can check it out. You can order it online, and you can watch the trailer for it. I'll just mention it's got the soundtrack is actually by Lorena McKennitt. And Lorena McKennitt, if you're familiar with her, she has like a lot of really beautiful music. So anyways, that's a little bit of my update, guys. Yeah, not doing all this editing and everything like that has also helped me become aware of like what my body feels like when I go through like sleep deprivation and stuff. So it's really interesting. Anyways, I'd love to hear from some other people within the talking circle right now, and I'd love to be able to pass it to Michelle. And as we go around, for anybody else who wants to be in the discussion, again, we'll just introduce who you are, like what your name is, where you're from, what you're doing to help assist with the shift in consciousness, be it through projects, be it through your own personal exploration, and then any intentions that you might want to share for the full moon. And I'll share my intentions later. So, Michelle, welcome back, and thank you so much for joining us.
I love you, Brandon. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it sounds beautiful. Sounds good.
Okay, awesome. I love you so much. You are a passionate warrior, and you are such an inspiration to me, but I just love you. I love everything that you shared, and I want to respond to some of it instead of answering any of those questions. And for those of you who don't know me, whatever, my name is Michelle Infinity. My website is Infinite Everything. I'm a teacher, a singer, a healer, and a writer, and just a cosmic being, just like you all are. And Skull said this beautiful thing about like the shift in consciousness, the shifting our paradigms, and I had a very deep experience with that. Oh, by the way, Lorena McKennitt is a badass, and I love her so much. So I just wanted to say that. And that's so cool that you're doing. And I totally know about the resistance thing as well. When you were talking about that, I was thinking like, oh, that's my yoga teaching. Like, that's so perfect. But oh, I knew if I said that, I'd forget the first thing. That's shift in the paradigm. I recently experienced that too. I was talking about how I went to Bolivia, or I was talking before a month ago, or however long it's been. It feels like an eternity. That I was going to this trip and I was taking some personal time. And what I really came up with, and I made a video about it today in a conscious article actually that I'll be posting later for the full moon, then it'll be up tomorrow. And I focused a lot on the astrology this month because I came up with a pattern recognition, which I can get into later. But the paradigm shift that I experienced over the last like few weeks or so was the same catching myself in consciousness. And the video I'm calling disidentification with the ego. So there's like my ego self and the thoughts. The ego has this resistance to transformation. And like, I just wanted to really pinpoint that because you're saying like this work that I'm doing, it's heavy work and it's not easy, but it's transforming me and growing me and evolving me. And my ego, I watched experience so much resistance to surrendering to a transformation of a greater potential and purpose that it could not control. And the ego really wants to be control and in control, the illusion of control, and therefore the ego separates itself. So the paradigm shift that I experienced was, I witnessed my prayers were coming from my ego, and I witnessed that my prayers were like saying really what they were saying. Like, they were saying beautiful things, quote unquote, very spiritual stuff, but really what they were saying was, I want to look good. I want to look good. Please let me look good. Let me do a good job so I look great and everything's like awesome. And I was like, what if you ask, let me be of service? How could I create this so that it benefits other people? How could I, as opposed to like wanting something to be polished or come out in a way so that I can feel hoity because I did it in a way that I felt like I was right? As opposed to just being totally surrendered and in humility and asking for the grace of like, I don't know how to express this. Let me express this in a way that can actually reach people, which is like a huge dharmic, I think that's a part of my work here and Paradigm Shift and my work with Skull, is that like I'm learning to communicate in a way, these deep, authentic, and anybody who knows my writing and my language, like I have like this very, not ancient, but like this is like, I don't even know what to call it, like, but like a way of communicating that is not the mainstream way of communicating. I'll just say that. It's a little bit deeper.
Archaic comes to mind for me. The word archaic.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm like this grandmother bringing this wisdom like to the modern, being a techno shaman, being a graphic designer, trying to figure out how to reach the masses with archaic consciousness. And I love that you called it a social media strategy team or a social media, what was it, dive bomb something, because it's like how to be guerrilla warfare. Marketers to get people's attention, but in a way that's like authentic and also real. And like, I don't want to be like, and I don't know why this is coming up, but like, I have a lot of resistance to like the way people are branding themselves as like a spiritual healer, intuitive coach, author being, Is that you? No, I've got other people messaging me. It's Nick. Oh, he can't join the broadcast, but he's tuned in watching. Go Nick. Nick Bryce, what up? Nick is beautiful. He listened to my podcast. Anyway, I want to talk about what I'm up to, but I'll do that in a second. Oh, well, maybe that came in so I can't talk smack about the way that people are branding themselves. I just want to be like completely authentic and like a really down to earth way. And another part of that paradigm shift I experienced was realizing, and I talk about this in the video and maybe in the article as well, which I really suggest that people who are listening, like I created this video today and the video like is maybe superficial in comparison to the article. I feel like the article is like the real truth. And so I really want people, I know that the video, like people will watch that first, but like, please read the article is the dope, the article is awesome. I made a video, it's pretty, yeah. But like the article is like where it's at. But yeah, so representing ourselves in a way that's authentic in this modern day society, because the ego also picks things that are not important. And that's what Nick said, thanks for the shout out. That the ego picks all these things that are very superficial, and it's kind of like the branding I said. It's like, I'm gonna heal your problems, like blah, 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 and market yourself in a certain way. That's not what I feel is a deeper true meaning, but yet we have to meet people where they are in order to really be healers and communicate to them. So it's just like what Skull was saying at the beginning of the broadcast. In order to reach the people and get the message heard and change the consciousness, we have to come to this age and we have to meet them, and that communication that goes two ways. And I've been speaking a lot about this because it's very meaningful for me. And I'm really digging what you said about the work days. And now I'll go into my conscious projects, and I hope I said everything there. I just want to reiterate the fact that our ego, small mind, this is what I say in the article, picks things that it thinks it will make it feel better because it is feeling separate. And really, when we're in our fullness and our oneness, we are calm and excited, just like you said at the beginning of the broadcast. We are not needing anything from the outside because we're connected in our own like higher consciousness. And the ego, when it's in that separate state where it feels like it does need things from the outside, either a relationship or a status symbol or all of those things. But when you roll back and you go on a retreat to South America and it's just you realize like none of that stuff really matters. When you withdraw, and this is this other delicate balance of withdrawing from society in order to not plug into it. And it's that Jesus quote of be in the world but not of it, but still be able to be a reachable channel and like interface with society in a way that is a balanced way, that it doesn't poison your own inner being, because we get lost and caught up, because it's like we eat the pills, the matrix, or like it's like we start to forget that connection. So that's another huge thing that I came to, is I realize, you know, there's a lot of, and I think I say this directly in the article, there's a lot of spiritual glamour with like going on retreats and medicine journeys and yoga and blah, blah, blah. Now it's so glamorous that I can go on the, you know, all of these things. However, those things are the things that pull us out of the society and get us to connect into ourselves and like the galactic star systems that, like, you know, the real truth that creates us, that we can draw down. And I feel like that is what I want my life to be about, is like really that connection to our soul self. And I've been to Kaipacha. I went to Kaipacha's retreat in Guatemala a year ago. And like the work that, like you just said, like the little pockets that we create about like the consistent, like people are healed and transformed through these things, these circles and these connections to ourselves, because we all get lost in the world and society. And because of the collective consciousness, Facebook, like the pros and cons of it is that we think things are important to us that when we check in with our real higher truth and spirit, they're really not. And so it's a beautiful clarity to get clean of all of that. So I just want to say that. And now I'll talk about what I'm up to. Yay. Okay, so what am I up to? I was gonna say, I mean, full moon article I just created. I was gonna say something else that I was up to before, but I don't know what it is now. But I will tell you that I did a video shoot today for like the first time as a professional, where I was actually paid to, and let me tell y'all, like, this is just me speaking as a personality. So I have like acting. I used to do like children's theater, and I did like films back in the day and everything like that. And then I do YouTube videos now and blah, blah, blah. Doing the acting thing, like, helps you be a director. It just does, you know, like everybody says that. So I experienced that today. So that was really an amazing thing, where I was like, I was able to give really clear and good direction and like make the people feel good that I was working with. So I'm doing professional, they're called corporate explainer videos for a company here in Boulder, and it's paying my rent, which is awesome. And yeah, it's really, and next Monday I will definitely be in the thing editing those videos. And I also want to do an ask, you know, if anybody wants to email me, I'm going to need like music, I think, for the beginning. I want like free music that goes like with the logo, at least the intro music, where it goes do 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 do, you know, like corporate, like where the logo comes up and it's like do 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 do, you know. So if anybody wants to send me that, or like, that would be amazing. I was going to ask Facebook on some time, but why not ask the family here and the digital media production team that we have. Is there anything else that I can say? The other thing that I can say, I can talk about the future. I'm like, should I talk about the future or the past? Skull, do you have a question? Because I can say something like, yeah, I want to be doing yoga and workshops now that I've got like this graphic design stuff going. Or should I speak a little bit about my trip, or I already did with the ego stuff? Where would you like me to go with this?
Yeah, I, before we pass it off to someone else, I was curious to maybe just ask if you can give us like any sort of like forecast for like what this full moon means, if that's something that you are perhaps even like putting into your article and stuff. And then I was also just going to ask if you wanted to like share any of your intentions for the full moon now, or save them for later.
Beautiful. Well, I could save them for later. That feels good. But also I can definitely speak about the astrology, because I thought of this pattern. This is really cool. Okay. I figured something out. Neptune is going retrograde a week from, like, is on June 16th, right? And it went direct in November. Jupiter went retrograde in February when the eclipses happened, and it's going direct tomorrow with the full moon. Jupiter is also the ruler of Sagittarius, so those are linked. So there were seeds planted in February and seeds planted in November. And if you guys can think back of what was happening then, in February there were the eclipses, you'll realize that there's a shift in energy that just happened that kind of wrapped all that up. And all these regular planets, the Mercury, the Mars, and the Venus, are going direct again. And Venus and Mercury just changed signs from Aries into Taurus. So in the last week cycle, you notice a shift in energy where we're not battling for love anymore. We're kind of slowing down and being able to enjoy it, we're busy because we're all moving forward, but we're moving forward, integrating the lessons that we have absorbed from the seeds and the choice points that we had in February that took us to now, that will be again, I think we'll have decisions to make that will mirror that with the second phase of eclipses that come up in August. And then whatever has been the shift that created this new energy of 2017 that happened last November 19th, mid-November, that now is also coming to a close, because in November, Neptune went direct and now it's going retrograde. So we're going to absorb and like digest. And also what I'm actually intuitively feeling and seeing in my own life is we're going to tangibly manifest all of the pieces and the parts and the components that kind of came to us. But because it's been such a scramble of a year in a Venus retrograde, like everything kind of like we weren't able to gel or do yet. And there was a lot of Mercury went retrograde. So many things like happened that we weren't able to form. But I feel something about the Neptune's planet of spirituality and a planet of like things that are ephemeral. I feel for some reason that like in the next couple months we're going to be able to like tangibly manifest and like work with all of those components in a solid way, and then move forward with all of this now forward motion and like kind of a game plan. It's almost like we got like we were scrambled for a few months and now it's like, okay, now go. And that's how I feel naturally. Also coincides with my own spiritual path. Yeah. That was it. Cool. I think that's it. I just stopped talking, so that was the end of transmission.
End of transition. Perfect. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you again, Michelle. Now, I mean, again, I want to be able to just like get around to other people and stuff like that, but you like hit upon it. But I'm just curious if there was more to share, like relative to like your trip that you just got back from. Like in terms of like anything related to just giving us like the short version of what you did and you know, how that helped you level up and any lessons you brought back or anything.
Clear of a lot, like all the stuff that I was just telling you about, like the things that I want to listen before I talk. All of the things, well, hold on, I'm going to really listen. I learned a lot. You know, I saw my limits, and I also saw where I'm at on my journey, which is like I feel like I really saw myself, and I came to a place of acceptance. I noticed when I recorded my video today, the transmission that I give in this video is like, you're going to get there and it's going to be perfect and eventually like you'll be enlightened and blah blah blah, you know, like it's this thing. And I don't feel like, as I was really listening to it, I don't really think that's true. But yeah, I mean, I listened to wisdom. I tuned to wisdom. My life is tuning into these higher guides, listening, knowing that they're there, not being able to discern what the message is all the time, but just allowing myself to be in the frequency, right, of like that stillness and that truth. And really just being okay with myself. I came back so full of just self-love, because it's like what I shared about the ego. It's like when we disconnect and dismantle from society, we're okay. And I feel like a lot of my type A, I guess you would say, or neurotic hippie or whatever it is. Danielle Laporte, I just read a book. It's called White Hot Truth. And it's all about like people who we just strive to be the best spiritual being that we can be. And we're constantly fixing ourselves. And it's like, if you get out of, unplug from all of that, then it's just you and God and nature and life and all of that, and you're okay and you're full and you don't really need anything from anybody or like to go anywhere. And I forget that a lot. I think that's just my wiring. Or or where I'm disconnecting. And I think it's what I would call like the conditioning of my, well, I won't even say the ego, but I was able to just see like the difference between my true self and the part of me that thinks I'm broken or needs to do stuff all the time in order to be worthy and like fix all those things, versus the part of that just already is, and like allowing myself to be in this place that I'm, I guess you would say, if you looked at that, you could say like not fully integrated, but yeah, at the same time, yes, fully integrated, you know? And so I came to peace with like that aspect of my whole self, which is like part of me feels this way and part of me doesn't. And like, I'm okay. And like, I still want to step out and teach now. I like, I have to, like, that's the next thing. So it's like the freelance graphic design stuff is going well. I'm here and I'm teaching together with the people, as opposed to, I feel like in other lives, I was used to like having all the answers and I have this thing, and this is really potent to share because it's a Scorpio, it's a Sagittarius full moon in the sign of Gemini for the sun. And my chart has 5 planets in Sagittarius with the North Node in Gemini, and the North Node represents where you're going. And you guys are going to get to know me really well in a second. So Sagittarius is like the teacher archetype, and Gemini is the student. And I have a lot of a lot of me is that teacher archetype. And yet I am learning to be the student at the same time that I'm being called to be a teacher. And that's all about connecting with people and connecting with community from a place of like on the same level and oneness, and speaking like alongside, as opposed to being like the guru who has all the answers. And I feel like a lot of my learning how to communicate to people is like coming down from that archaic platform, which is just natural to me. It's just the way that it's my being, but like learning the language of the people and like, how do I resonate in a way that's from my heart that allows other people to feel me and us to feel, and that's that interchange. So thank you for asking that question.
Cool. So do you feel more confident now than ever?
Yes. No. Yeah, I feel more at peace with myself. Like I feel more like whole, I guess. I don't know. Do I feel more confident now than ever? I feel like I don't know, maybe less self-conscious, maybe I shed a bit. I'm not sure. I feel like when we do inner journeys, and I wrote this in the thing, like, and I noticed like for me internally, like I feel like I look different in my aura, and like I just feel like more of myself, like my real self, like letting go of false things that I was carrying on the walk that don't need to be there anymore, and plugging in back to my truth, which is hallelujah. So yes.
Awesome. I think I think it's beautiful just being able to hear you say that. But I think again, there's a difference between like, we don't need to feel the most confident we've ever felt all the time. I think being self-conscious allows ourselves to know that at times we won't feel fully confident, but like that's like where the medicine is, like that's where like we allow ourselves to be like, oh, okay, like, why am I feeling this way related to this environment? Like, is there something that it's like revealing to me that I haven't fully acknowledged yet? Or is there a shadow aspect to myself that, I'm like kind of keeping hidden from myself? Or is this like a task that is making us, in some ways anxious or in some ways fearful, but at the same time inviting us to step into more? I think it's like the what it is about. So, I mean, yeah, I feel, I think it's definitely cool to just kind of hear you saying what you said, because yeah, I feel like as you become more conscious, you do kind of step into this place where you can just kind of like walk through the craziest storm with like the utmost calm and like be able to like hold your own center and everything like that. And it comes from just like a degree of trust and a degree of just like knowing that like everything is a teacher, everything is medicine, things that we've said like thousands and thousands of times in this broadcast. But it seems that it becomes like more and more actualize, the more and more we continue to move forward on this path. Like, you know, just when you think you got it all figured out, like boom, you get humbled all over again, kind of thing. But I do feel that, you know, through your own like sort of macrocosmic orbit of your experience, it is like a reflection of a lot of us stepping into our potential. So you know, that's, you know, that again, like that's why we do these broadcasts, so that people can hear us talk, not just as us, but like as themselves, like as other parts of ourselves, you know, like, you know, they tune into these broadcasts to get inspired, and they also do it because they're just like, oh, I wonder what I've been up to these past couple weeks in my other many human forms. You know, like this is kind of like the godness of all of us kind of like connecting back into that central nexus where we can kind of see the many fractals that we represent ourselves as. So through hearing one of ourselves growing, we hear all of ourselves grow. And again, you know, I think it's not just about trying to like be like super like A+ all stars all the time, but it's about just being authentic. And I think, like, you know, just whatever needs to happen will happen as we are authentic. And if we aren't authentic, then that is still part of the process, because eventually something will happen that will kind of like get us to reflect on our own like lack of authenticity and invite us to step into our authenticity. But yeah, you know, I think there's a beautiful discussion there of just like, what does it mean to be an authentic, you know, like cosmic citizen in a lot of ways. And again, reflecting back on the idea that we're doing this, we're leveling up so that we can help assist with the shift, so that we can help accelerate the shift. We can either like sit back and just watch it all happen, or we can actively say like, hey, I acknowledge that my participation is going to make a difference in this, even if it's just like, you know, and not even just, but, you know, when it is the impact that we make on somebody else's life, when it is the inspiration that somebody gets out of us, like showing up, out of us, like acting out of compassion and just like demonstrating and leading by unspoken example in a lot of ways, you know, 7 generations ahead. Michelle, thank you again. I want to keep bouncing around, and later on before you go, if you want to share any of intentions related to the full moon. And I know we're going to do a tarot card draw again. You know, this broadcast is only going to 11:30, so we got about an hour left to play around. Michelle, if you either want to do a tarot reading or a meditation, the invitation is there. So just let me know.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling it, then it's a party.
Yeah,
so.
I'm down. I'm feeling it.
Okay,
I just want to say, the things that you mentioned, one of them was faith. Like you were talking about, walking through the crazy is the faith. Then the more and deeper you go on the path, then the more prevalent, then either like it shows up that, yeah. So it's either your own lack of it and your need for it, but like that spirit is always there guiding us. And the more that we communicate and commune with it, the more that we trust that no matter what is like our process, that it's all going to come full circle in this way that like, oh, it looks like a broken mess now, but it'll all be perfect. And I trust spirit to heal that. So you build a relationship there. And the other thing is like the inner work that we do on ourselves, the deep inner work. I realized that it was like, well, I'm going to keep a lot of this private because it was my own inner journey. And yet the transformation that I have experienced radiates outward, because now I am a changed person. And so everybody I interact with, every article that people read, like every little spark of consciousness that I now transmute forever is shifted. And I could see that, how every radiate, how it's like a spider web, like from the center, it just like it hits all the little ping, 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 ping. So thank you.
Ping, 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 ping. Yeah, fun. Kazoo.
Tickers.
Half the people won't know what I'm talking about. That's cool though. Yeah, I think again, you know, I'll just say this, and then for anybody else who's in the hangout, we'll pass the talking stick around. We do have a couple other people. We do have Sean and Dylan and Anna, so we'll pass the microphone around and we'll allow you guys to just again introduce yourselves. But yeah, I feel like if there was like one thing that I could give to the entire world, you know, it would be, I don't know, maybe this isn't my only answer, but the concept of trust, I feel, is such a powerful thing within one's own spiritual journey. Like what happens like when we really develop that trust? And for me, the trust kind of comes from like this idea of time being a very backwards thing from how we actually perceive it. Like what we perceive as forward is actually not forward in terms of like how time operates. You know, it's kind of reverse engineering itself all the time. So it's like, assume that in 4 months from now you're in a place and you've got like all sorts of whatever you need to have like this joyful experience, and then wherever you are right now is getting you to there. And so it's like really just kind of like any turbulent waves that you're going through in the moment, just like understanding that like, okay, like this is not the universe trying to like pick on me. This is not something personal. It is something personal. It's about your growth and evolution. But again, you know, like when you can really just kind of not only trust and sit back and just be like, I trust that everything's going to be okay while your house is on fire or something like that, you know, but it's like trusting responsibly, like being responsible, being, you know, like punctual and being like there to like show up halfway to meet the universe. It's not trusting that the universe is going to do all the work for you. It's trusting that your hard work is paying off in like every single thing that you're doing, and the little things and the big things. So just keep going, just keep moving forwards, guys. Okay, let's yeah, much love. Awesome job, Michelle. MichelleInfinity.com, you guys can check out, or .net, MichelleInfinity.net. You can check out
No, infiniteeverything.net.
.swag, what is it? I forget.
It's infinite everything.
InfiniteEverything.net.
And
MichelleInfinity on Facebook.
Yes, and totally.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Sweet. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, guys, it's about 10:34 on the clock, so we still got some time, and I want to be able to pass the talking stick. I think Dylan and Sean, if you guys are there, just feel free to let us know. But I believe Anna is here and available. So Anna, if you're ready, we can pass the talking stick over to you. So Anna, do you want to just test your microphone real quick?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Sounds perfect. Awesome.
Okay.
Sweet. Anna, thank you so much for joining, and welcome to the team. Welcome to the circle. So please, you can just say your name, where you're from, a little bit about what you're doing to help assist in the shift, and anything else you might want to share in this moment, and any intentions, we'll get into that as we go. So Anna, go right ahead. Thank you.
So my name is Anna Moni, and I have a YouTube channel. I haven't been posting much lately because I've been kind of in that germination process. Going through, you know, a new level of understanding and working on perfecting what it is that I want to say. So I live in California, and I've been here for about 20 years. I had a very unique childhood, was born into, I guess there's a lot of names for the type of group that I was born into, but the one that makes the most sense is cult. A cult that started in the 1960s on the beaches of Orange County, California. And everybody that joined was probably on acid. And they, you know, it was a love bombing with a very strong Christian, Christ-centered truth. And I believe that many of the people, including my parents that joined, were pure, innocent searchers. And the leader of the group was using very dark magic, and he had many personal traumatic issues from childhood, and probably genetics and DNA. And he was very dark. He was a pedophile, and he taught our parents that that's how we were supposed to understand sexuality. So my healing process has been about understanding what needs to happen to let go of and embrace and learn to manifest with our, you know, human heritage energy, our creative force, which gives us, you know, the ability to shift this reality away from the darkness that seems to be overcoming everything right now. Because of the trauma that I went through as a child, I spent a lot of time outside of my body, and it was it was an experience of, my voice is actually shaking a little bit right now because this is the first time that I'm actually speaking at this level in public right now. So by healing those events, it allowed me, I had to learn to experience from the third person perspective, to see with objectivity like what was going on. And the third perspective is what helped me heal the 3D reality. When I began to remember, not the physical perspective, but where I went when these things took place. And the name of the group, by the way, is the Children of God, if you guys are interested in finding out more information about it.
Sorry, say it again. What was it called?
The Children of God.
Children of God. Okay.
Yeah. Just as background information about some of the things. But basically, it was by healing those stories and remembering, I remembered where I went to deal with what was taking place. And what I came to understand is that because I had so much trauma and had gone to those places so often, that was the reason that I was traveling lucidly over the past 20 years, as I've been working on my healing for about 20 years, documenting, doing a lot of different modalities, very private. I never really enjoyed being part of groups. I felt very solitary in what I was experiencing. But what I'm discovering is that there's a lot of people, even from my childhood, women and mainly women, who are healing in the very same way that I am, which is a wonderful, powerful thing. And because of this 5D level healing process, I've been able to go to the future, the one that I'm in the future, based on the decisions and the healing that I'm doing now. And I've gone there maybe 3 or 4 times consciously. And my goal right now is to vibrate at that frequency and do what I can on the daily to manifest heaven on earth. Because in the group that I was raised in, it was very much about the apocalyptic Book of Revelation, hellfire, Armageddon ending. We were raised as the end time army, and it was, we got woken up in the middle of the night where they would do like drill raids, like as if the Antichrist, the enemy forces were coming, and, we were going to be asked to declare our faith in Christ. And that if we declared Christ, or if we denied him, we would live. But if we declared Christ, then we would be executed. And that was like our purpose in life, was to eventually be martyrs for Christ. That was like the fear-based. And I believe that a lot of the Christian world right now is still following the edict that was written in the Book of Revelation, without truly understanding that that entire storyline is one version of the future. And it's up to us to shift that by choice. So, I'm connected deeply to Christ energy, and I don't consider it masculine or feminine. It's both. And I believe that most Christians are true in their faith. They are faithful, and they understand the Christ in their heart, and they don't understand the deceit that they're being surrounded by. So a lot of my focus in the future is going to be on reaching those that understand that. I had to memorize many, many Bible chapters, sometimes before I ate breakfast. So I have, that whole book is in my head and my heart. It's in my being. So I know how to use Bible scripture to back up what I know. So that's kind of my next level phase. We were a nonprofit that is going to be creating gardens, food gardens, food is free, community trade, trade for labor. And then there we have a church, which is Mother Goddess Earth. And it's a fully vetted nonprofit charity and church. And we're also a sovereign nation. So I just opened up the Western chapter, and our entire goal is to create brand new resources as the old system is dying, so that people don't have to experience the zombie apocalypse that we've been promised. Yeah, so that's kind of it.
Anna, thank you so much for joining and for sharing. And it's interesting because, you know, I think even just kind of like reading in the comments and everything, like you simply sharing that is like very meaningful for people who may have stories that are similar in ways and different in others and everything. So thank you for just having the courage to be able to talk about what you were talking about there. Because again, you know, I think that's how we change it, right?
Yeah,
if we ignore it, it keeps happening. If we talk about it and to not only say like, you know, like this is how it affected me, but this is how I have transformed through it. And then as you grow into who you are now, you have the ability to like help like break the cycle as well. So yeah, thank you very much, Anna. I was just going to ask you, mentioned that you had a YouTube channel. Do you want to just share what your YouTube channel is for people listening? And then we can put it in the show notes.
She's Miss Money.
She's Miss Money. Okay. Can you just put a link for that in the comments somewhere? And I'll keep it open.
My screen went big. Oh, wait,
right.
there. Yeah, okay, I can find it.
Cool. Awesome. Sweet. Well, yeah, Anna, I think you literally, this is your first time in the Hangouts and stuff like that. Like you were in the chat on the YouTube and stuff. Are you fairly new to the Paradigm Shift Central project, or have you
I don't know how we got connected, actually. I think cool. Maybe on YouTube. And then my focus hasn't really been social media, but I'm kind of re-engaging now. And I have a lot of software mechanisms. I noticed you said something about, you know, Facebook isn't working for you like it used to. And I've seen that from a lot of pages. And that's because they have algorithms in place, you know, but there are ways around those kind of things. So I've been focusing on understanding the technology behind making Facebook still work and finding the cheaper ways to maximize it. So yes, I'm brand new I just signed up today with your site, and I love the gamification aspect. I think that for this, you know, this new generation of kids that are raving right now, you know, that are going to these festivals and, you know, experiencing Plur, it's important for them to have, you know, places to kind of fall back on as they're coming back into reality. So the gamification is awesome. That's something that I've been focusing on is understanding gamification and, you know, app development using a lot of background platforms and, you know, really getting and understand. I have a Google Play account and then iTunes app account. So I'm able to begin developing. I don't have all the expertise, but I do. I found a few mechanisms. One is Fiverr. I don't know if you're familiar with it, if anyone is. But if you ever need something in tech, that's a great place to go to find outsourcing, you know, overseas and whatnot. So.
Perfect. Yeah, a big thing that, again, you know, for people who maybe fairly new to the project, or even just those of you who've been around for a while, and again, you know, and Anna, thank you for sharing. A big part of what we're going to be doing moving forward, like within the gamification, how do we play the game? We play the game by literally creating successful conscious media. There's multiple degrees to this, and I need people to understand that. So, I mean, like part of it is creating purely for the sake of creating, you know, like create, like not just with the idea of like, let's assume that no one reads it, but no, let's create with assuming that, you know, maybe 50 people read it, maybe 100, but let's say 1,000 read it, who knows? But what we want to do as a team is not only submit content together, but then go through the process of curating it, which is where like within the teams that we have within the game. And again, you know, like stay tuned for the work periods on Monday and work throughout any day of the week, you know, as the project evolves, people will be working throughout the week on stuff. The social media tactics team is a specific team that is new within the game that is allowing us to focus our efforts towards finding creative and effective ways to be able to help get things out there through Facebook and through, you know, promotions and groups and collaborating and all the things that we can talk about later on. But again, you know, like there is going to be content that we are going to be creating that is going to be created with like the intention to go viral, and not just for the sake of being like, oh, because like let's get popular, but like let's remember that how powerful a single idea can be. And in a lot of ways, many of the core ideas that we want to kind of at least put in front of people and invite them to think for themselves is, again, you know, like simple things related to unity, simple things related to the metaphysical dimensions of this reality, our multidimensional experiences, things related to showing examples of how people are changing the world through things like free hugs. Because sometimes, like when it comes to leading by example, it's just that. And so if you want people to do things, sometimes rather than just telling them what to do, you show them what they can do and you invite them to do it, right? So if we show videos of us, of myself and other people doing things like free hugs, people are just like, that's so cool. Like I can do that too. And it becomes this very easy thing. So again, you know, within the project, a big part of it, what we do is simple tactics applied effectively. So part of the game aspect to this is working as a team to like keep track of our points, quote unquote, through social media in terms of like how many people view articles, how many people see videos, how many people tune in for live broadcasts. Right now in this broadcast, we've got 15 people tuned in live, which is beautiful because, again, you know, we're creating a routine for this. And eventually these are going to be building up for when we're doing things like very, very potent live global meditations, and what happens when we can have like more and more people tuned into that, and we can really practice synchronizing as a community. And there's a lot of ideas in terms of where the project is evolving into, and we'll get more into that as we keep going. So it's about 11:50 right now, and again, you know, like a big part of the game we'll just mention is the shift buttons, which again have the website for the project, and a big part of how we play the game, like through the buttons, those are like real world video game quest items. And part of how you can play the game is by going up to people and giving them the button and creating conversation. You're not just giving them a button, but you're creating a connection. You're building community. You're sparking a synchronicity. You're creating a new reality. And so the buttons have become more and more powerful the more that the projects become involved. Because again, you know, I could be out there on the bus tomorrow, give this button to someone else, and then that button will link them to Michelle's new article. That button will link them to our next broadcast that they can be involved with. That will link them to a local paradigm shift community that they can help get involved with, or to even the idea of like a community that they can create. They can create a paradigm shift community. So yeah, that just kind of going over some of the basics there for those of you who may be new or otherwise. And again, you can create a profile through paradigmshiftcentral.com. So let's keep bouncing around. Anna, if you're still there, was there anything else that you just wanted to share before we pass the talking stick around? Maybe maybe an intention or two related to the full moon while we're here. So yeah, I'll pass it back to you, Anna. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. I've done moon work for many years, and I feel like every time that we do work with the moon, we're able to access all of the previous times that we've done that, because the moon is really the only constant, or the most constant, if you think about it, in our little solar system. I mean, unless it gets hit by an asteroid, which hasn't happened in a while. We change, we grow, we live, we die. But the moon is kind of like a lens that works as a way to time travel, I guess. So for me, full moon work is about harvesting. And I feel like in the past 2 weeks, especially, my work has been on building another set of boundaries of responsible behavior for myself, and also expecting that of those that are in my tribe. And you know, coming to decisions of when it is and isn't right to continue, having people in your inner circle as opposed to maybe pushing them a little farther out. But I have made space, and I can feel the energy that's coming in the future. And instead of wallowing in difficulty. I've, I'm looking to the future, and the full moon for me this time around is definitely just about focusing on vibrating at the right frequency, which is, that about the responsibility. So it's if you build it, they will come, right? It's not about what you're talking about with the free hugs and everything. I love that. I think when I was in the rave scene like 20 years ago, that was what I did. I went around just hugging everybody all night long. That's all I wanted to do. And, I think that kind of action, along with just vibrating at the right frequency, is going to let those that are searching for the awakening, they'll find us by just being at the right frequency and just taking the correct action steps. So that's about the responsibility. So that's what I'm working on.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so it is. Awesome. Thank you, Anna. Yeah, I think that's really cool, kind of what you're saying, that like every time we access the moon, we are connecting with every other time that we have accessed the moon, but not just us, everyone. So, I mean, like, if you've ever looked at the moon, like in that moment, it's like a satellite dish, or again, like a portal. So it's like, if everyone's kind of looking at the moon and they're all kind of looking, even just there's that sort of romantic prospect of like being on the other side of the country as your loved one, and just you're both looking at the same moon, and it's just like, oh, it connects us, right? But like that's a cute idea, but I think there's actually a very real thing to that, kind of in this subtle energy plane that is still permeating throughout this reality. So again, like whether you're looking at the moon or whether you're just tapping into its presence and everything, I think it is a very powerful place to, again, just put out your intentions and to really kind of connect like with the seeds that you're planting, the gratitude that you have in this moment. I think we could spend a lot of time talking about the moon in terms of like what it is and how it kind of fits into this bigger picture. Okay, guys, I want to keep moving along here because we're within the last like 40 minutes. If we go over 11:36, that's fine. We'll play it by ear. One thing I just want to mention before we're going to pass it to Joseph in a second, in terms of things coming up within the Paradigm Shift Central project, I'll mention this, and then we'll mention stuff later related to like the team Patreon and just keeping you guys up to date with that. The next broadcast that we got coming up, so for those of you who are interested, the next broadcast that we have coming up is actually going to be, well, technically there's the Shift Teams work period, which again is every Monday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the way how you tune into that, it live broadcasts through the website at about 11 a.m., but it starts on my Facebook at about 9 a.m. But again, just show up on the website at any point that day. You can either show up, check out some of the assignments that we got going on. That's something I got to mention that I haven't yet. Jump in the live chat, just ask how you can be involved, and even jump in the voice chat as well. And that's how we can communicate. Tuesday coming up is going to be a dream class. So for those of you who have been tuned into the past, you guys know that dream class is a very exciting part within this project. And that's where every 2 weeks we have this broadcast where we specifically designate the conversation to discussion related to our dreams, documenting our dreams, like as through conversation, we collectively document them and working towards things like lucid dreaming, astral projection, and again, just becoming more aware of our multidimensional potential as dreamers within this dream, becoming better dreamers within the dream. So again, like leading up to that broadcast, keep that in mind. Maybe, just like put extra intention towards your dreams, especially tonight. My friends, I had a couple friends who put up some posts the other night about like dreams that they had related to the full moon, and they sounded, like extra ripe and extra potent. So maybe you'll have some dreams tonight that you can bring into dream class, or even if you're just looking to learn from the beginning, feel free to tune in for that. Again, that'll be Tuesday, June 13th, 9:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on the website. Just go to live.paradigmshiftcentral.com. Thursday, this is basically just what I want to get into mentioning. Thursday, so next Thursday, is going to be Paradigm Shift Destiny School. So this is going to be a Destiny School episode. This is going to be one that we haven't had in a while. And the topic for Destiny School is going to be the consciousness of animals. So basically, this is going to be a very exciting broadcast, because through the aspect of exploring animals, we in turn learn more about ourselves, like how is what animals are doing teaching us about ourselves. You get into this idea of like every animal teaching you something. Even for me, like really reflecting lately, I keep going back to like the spirit energy, like the spirit medicine of the spider, which is like become like more and more part of my reality. I'm just like, wow, like the spider is like such a wise teacher within this reality. And I think it's interesting that like 90% of the population is scared of the spider, right? It's like we're scared of the truth that it's holding, that it's like right in front of us, it's dangling in front of our face. We're like, no, get away from me, or something like that, right? So yeah, we can talk about spiders, we can talk about dolphins, we can talk about chimpanzees, we can talk about like rare animals, we can talk about glowing things at the bottom of the ocean. That will be again next Thursday, June 15th, and Destiny School will do that once a month, and it'll be a different topic each month. Coming topics will be announced as we go. Eventually, we're going to do a topic all about flat Earth. I want to get people in. I want to talk about flat Earth. I just want to hear what people have to say about it, you know? So we'll open up to that. But again, next week, consciousness of animals. So that's basically just what I want to mention to you guys. And yeah, we'll get into the Patreon and stuff a little bit later on and everything. But yeah, in the meantime, Joseph is in the talking circle now, and we're gonna pass the talking stick around to him. And for those of you who perhaps remember and perhaps were involved in past broadcasts, Joseph has jumped in before. But Joseph, we'll pass the talking stick over to you. And again, just who you are, where you're from, what are you doing to help shift consciousness, or what do you want to do to be helping shift consciousness, and any intentions you have for the full moon, and anything else you want to bring to the circle. And the last thing I'll just say, again, you know, remembering that when we're here in the circle, we're doing this to collectively uplift each other, to collectively like just put forth our heart song, and in turn create like this medicine that all of us can continue to get inspired by. This is like a boost, a spiritual boost point, listening to these broadcasts. So for everyone listening to this, remember that the broadcast doesn't end, like the energy of it doesn't end when the broadcast ends. You carry the shift with you. You carry what it is that we are creating here with you. So Joseph, brother, we're going to pass it over to you. And yeah, I look forward to being able to hear what you have to share. So Joseph, we're going to pull up your microphone, and when you're ready, you can go, maybe just test your microphone first and go right ahead. So
hello.
Yeah, it's coming through. Sounds good. All right, Joseph, go ahead. The talking stick is yours, and welcome.
Thank you. I'm Joseph, Joe. I just want to say, first off, it's an honor to be here with all of you and share sacred space. And it's very, very beautiful occasions that you get to share sacred space on a full moon, and you get to all be here, very transparent, sharing your intentions. And it's a really sacred, beautiful thing. And that's something that I'm really passionate about, is sacred play, getting into sacred space, using different elements to raise your vibration and to really interact with the collective. So I'm from Detroit, Michigan originally, and I'm from now I'm in Toronto. So I'm in Toronto, Ontario. So been here for a while, dude. It's awesome here. I really like it here compared to the States. No, like I just noticed that a lot of people's guards are more down here, maybe not in the city so much, but like as a whole. And I really like that. It really makes it a lot much more easier to, I grew up in Detroit, so sometimes it can be really hard. I grew up in a very aggressive, kind of learn how to be in these abrasive energies and kind of learn how to be myself and speak my own truth. And that's really something that's been really hard for me. But now coming into this fuller expression, really just riding these waves of energy, it's really beautiful to be able to connect with others and to see that like this is something that we're all going through, and we're all I just want to say also, I haven't been on here I've been out of the loop. I've been in like hermit mode, but dude, what you've done with this site is like amazing. It's literally like, it's like a video game. It's like a video game, but with like the interactive Allahs and the moon calendar. Like, I just want to say, like, anyone who's not signed up or created a profile, you guys are really gonna have a lot of fun. Like, I did not expect it. It was just like very like you get to see a lot of different elements of like what you bring to the game, and a little bit about your archetypes and different elements you resonate with. And for anyone that hasn't gone ahead and created a profile, I highly recommend it because it's amazing.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So what I'm doing to shift the consciousness, and I think like what we're all doing, is honestly just on our paths, right? Is just like trying our best, showing up for life in each moment, and just trying to spread kindness in any way that we can. And sometimes, you know, it might show up a little bit more abrasive through chaos, might show up through some more like just whatever you're feeling, right? And I think it's back to what I think, is it Anna or Anna? Back to what she was saying was like really about like responsibility. And I really think that that's a really key theme for this full moon, is we're realizing our potential and kind of how how every decision that we make literally ripples into the collective consciousness. So if we can constantly bring it back in and take ourselves out of this chaotic system, this chaotic matrix, we can keep coming back into ourselves and keep integrating with what's flowing through for us uniquely, we're able to share our most potent expression in each given moment. And I think that that really, for me, what I've been involved in a lot of projects offline. I've been leading men's circles, warrior workshops, and now I'm kind of, me and my wife, we're getting in the space where now we're starting to do it online, so we can reach more people around the world and really help them understand sacred ceremony and how they can really weave their intentions in the universe to raise their vibrations and to just honestly help the collective. You know, that's like, we're all in this together, and that's what I really take it back to Paradigm Shift Central. What I really love about that is the call to action that we can make, weaving together like the tapestry. And I really love how we can all kind of see what each other's strengths are and then weave together to create the most potent broadcast, potent transmission that we can. So yeah, I'm just really honored to be here. I want to pass the talking stick if anyone else wants to talk. I'm just an honor to be here and sharing sacred space, and thank you guys so much for having me.
Awesome, Joseph. Thank you so much, man. And yeah, I really like what you were saying earlier when you first started, the idea of like sacred play. I think that's so important in everything. And again, you know, there's a lot that we could talk about just on that in itself. But I just wanted to ask you real quick in terms of being in Toronto, because again, I'm in London, Ontario, Canada, which is like the next big city from Toronto and everything. There's a lot of stuff happening in Toronto, and just curious out of curiosity, have you connected with like people like Darren Austin Hall yet? Have you connected with him yet by chance?
No, man. I've honestly these past like 3 months, I've been off the grid a lot. I've been really journeying with nature and just really allowing different layers of myself to kind of fall away and integrate, and really just cultivating the most. I'm learning different techniques. I've been training in different martial arts, different alchemy arts, where you take elements through nature and you alchemize them through yogic breath work, body locks, and you squeeze your life force up through the chakras and basically able to ground it so that we can do things like interact in the world. And I think that that's really important, is like people like, is Darren Austin Hall, that's the sound bowl
healing.
Yes.
Yeah. You'll meet him eventually, I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah, no. And that's kind of like a great example, is like, you know, taking these things that bring us the ultimate joy and that we can use to send our intentions and amplify our intentions in the universe. A big part of that, like where I'm at now, I guess I'll transition to like what my intentions are for this full moon, is to really allow everything that's been culminating inside of me, cultivating inside me, to really share that at the highest level. And really what that means is just doing what I can in any moment that I can do it, and finding that balance between giving and receiving. That's really where I'm at right now. And yeah, like I believe we're at a really beautiful time when a lot of powerful souls came here to counteract the amount of discord and chaos that's been happening in the world through this yuga that we're in. And now it's the rise of the divine feminine. And really what that means is not really about like the sex that is the woman, although that is definitely happening on like the forefront, but it's more so about the energies that are happening within us. And part of my things that I love to do is help men to transition that energy within themselves so that they can be better people for their, you know, for their family, for their community. So that's something that I'm really passionate about. So, thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. I think I'm not sure if Michelle has her microphone open. Michelle, did you want to jump in with something? I was going to reply real quick. Okay, I don't know why. I think Michelle, I think FYI, your microphone was open even though it shouldn't have been open. Like I had it muted too. I don't know, it was weird. But yeah, Joseph, just going back to what you were saying, man. Yeah, dude, if you're in Toronto, I'm really excited for you actually, because I feel like there's a lot for you to tap into that you have yet to fully tap into, being still fairly new there and everything. And that's things that we can talk about more in terms of like, because I mean, there is a paradigm shift Toronto. It in itself like isn't fully activated, but like there is so many ongoing regular conscious community events happening in Toronto that like at this point, all I'm doing with the Facebook page in Toronto, I'm literally just, when I see a Toronto event come through, I just share it through the Paradigm Shift Toronto Facebook page. That way, so people are seeing other events. For example, Alternity, check it out on Facebook. Like they have conscious events there like throughout the week. We actually did a Paradigm Shift Toronto meetup there back in the summer and or back in whenever that was, a while ago. And that went really well and everything. But yeah, just if it's something that if you it's at this point, it's not 100% necessary to like create a brand new event from scratch and call it Paradigm Shift Toronto. But if that is something that you feel called to do and incorporate like your own flavors and your own sort of like facilitation into it, Joe, just let me know. Cause I mean, like, again, I think Paradigm Shift Toronto is still kind of like waiting for like someone to kind of like anchor in the admin role. And so like the invitation's there as much as you want to do it. And again, like in doing that, again, with the intention for this project, we want people to create conscious community events. Whether they call them a paradigm shift community or not is kind of is secondary, but the value of calling it a paradigm shift community is that like you're connecting to like this bigger story and this collective momentum. And then, like when people come to the meetings, you can say like, oh, well, like there's other paradigm shift communities in other cities across the world and other people are organizing their meetups. And people are like, oh, that's really cool. And then you can even say, when you check out the main website, it's actually about like kind of like this global real world interactive game. And we're leveling up and we're wizards and we're gaining experience points. And you can put as much flavor into it as you feel called. But yeah, just I'll just pass back to you and then we'll go around the circle a little bit more. But yeah, just let me know if there's a point in the future where we want to like talk about that in the voice chat related to like organizing any community events, and I can switch you over to the admin in the Paradigm Shift Toronto page if you're feeling it. So Joe, just pass it back to you if there's anything you want to say on that. Go ahead.
That sounds amazing, dude. I would love to just really, maybe like if you're free this week, maybe just jump on like a call or something. I know that you're probably busy, but maybe we could talk more about it in detail. I think it would be a great honor. And I think what you're saying is like, it's more about the container that's already been created, that's already having momentum, that needs anchoring and grounding, and can have ambassadors that really embody what it is that the message of Paradigm Shift Central is. And that's really, from my understanding, is to just to keep furthering the evolution and really like what's inevitable, what's happening right now with the shift of consciousness. So I would love to talk more about that. Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, let's, if you're around Monday, for me, it works best if we can actually fit it into the work period on Monday. So anytime between 9 and 4, if you're around in that time, we can fit it in. Otherwise we'll fit it in additionally as well. But yeah, probably not this weekend, but definitely at the start of the weekend onwards, we'll be able to talk about that. And again, like I'll just mention this real quick. And again, anybody else who wants to share the talking stick, like with like what it is that we're kind of creating with the Paradigm Shift community, its value is in the fact that it's like very open-ended. The idea with the Paradigm Shift community, it's not like this community where it's like specifically about spirituality, or it's specifically about like helping like get fluoride out of the water, or it's specifically just about, like learning about chakras and stuff like that. It's a space that you create that's about open-minded discussion and meditation. And then you allow what comes up in that to come up, but with like the kind of overarching idea that it is through these conversations that spirit naturally kind of like allows itself to flow through, that is kind of like allowing us to step further into our own personal evolution, our own personal growth, our own personal form, familiarity with like what it means to be, expressing ourselves and telling our stories and just being able to be heard and talk about. Because again, like the Paradigm Shift communities, they they are successful when you're really acknowledging what they are in the long term. And again, Paradigm Shift London is a perfect example of that. We've been having our meetings for like probably like eventually it's going to be a decade soon, which is crazy because like I started it in my college, like literally like back when I was 21 and I'm almost 30. So there you go. Or even I was older, I was younger than that actually. But again, you know, its value is in its long-term sort of story that it weaves with these connections that it creates. You know, people come to a Paradigm Shift community and then it connects them with friends who they continue to have conversations with outside of the meetings. And then it creates bonds that can last a lifetime. Like there have even been like many relationships that have come out of people knowing each other through Paradigm Shift, which again, I'll just say this is about realizing that when you're creating a community, a Paradigm Shift community, or when you're going out there and when you're interacting with people, when you're doing things like free hugs, the big thing that kind of like shifts the paradigm for me is knowing that you are already connected to the people who you have yet to meet. And so it's simply by like going out there and allowing those people to meet you. Whereas like if you stay at home, like it's not like you'll never meet them, but it's like once you step out, the universe again kind of like sees that from a top-down perspective. They're like, oh, good, like Brendan's out of his house. Like, let's go get someone to like run into him and talk to him on the bus or something like that. So you really have to kind of see from this multidimensional perspective of the universe wanting to support us in building community and planting seeds and assisting with the shift in consciousness. And when we carry that intention, again, things become very, very exciting. And in a lot of ways, they begin to accelerate as well. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to mention that real quick. So I do just want to be able to invite anybody else who feels called to share in the talking circle, and then again we'll start moving towards ending the broadcast, and that will include the tarot card draw and a meditation, which I think Michelle might be doing with us, and yeah, and then just any final notes and everything on that point, and yeah, lots of cool stuff. There's something else I was gonna mention earlier in the show that I think I said I was like going to mention, but I forget what I was going to mention. So that happens. Oh, we'll just save it for next week. I don't know. Stay tuned. Keep listening. Okay, guys. So we did also have Dylan, Time Lord, and Sean. Dylan, Time Lord, and Sean. If one of you guys would like to share anything on the microphone or just introduce yourselves, I don't want to say quickly, but just being mindful of the time. You know, 5-8 minutes introduction. If you can kind of can like boil it into that, and absolutely please feel free and we'll hold space for you here. So I think Dylan, I think you're there. I'm just going to pull up your microphone. So Dylan, just go ahead and test your microphone real quick. Just say hello.
Check 1 2, Brendan. Check 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's coming through. Okay. All right, sweet. So
All right, cool.
Dylan, we'll pass the talking stick to you. Welcome and go right ahead.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Everyone.
Yeah, it sounds okay. Just try and talk a little bit louder if you can, but it should be okay.
Sorry. Okay. That better?
Yeah, go ahead. You're good.
Yeah.
I think you might have feedback on your end somehow, but go ahead. Try again.
It's quite possible. Kind of in a sound bubble. 1 second.
I think you're good to go whenever you're ready. So.
All right, cool.
Go for it.
So, my name's Dylan. Obviously, thank you for the introduction. Shout out to Kyle Nybakken. He's the one who introduced me to Paradigm Shift Central. I really appreciate it. Shout out to everyone here. Thank you for what you've shared so far. There have been a multitude of things that I'd love to talk about, but time's limited. So a little bit of background about myself, since I haven't really introduced myself to the community all that much. I've been grew up in a military family, bounced around the globe, spent a lot of my time in Europe, specifically Heidelberg, Germany, and had a very similar but differentiating upbringing to Anna. Very traumatic, lots of abuse, and through this journey, a lot of healing has been going on. And in this period of digesting and integrating all of these lessons and going back with these 5th dimensional energies and healing these 3-dimensional traumas has been liberating, to say the least. And stepping into that space of self-love and being able to overflow with it has been an amazing experience. bounced around all over the US as well, been to many different countries in Europe. So there's a large perspective there, and seeing like on the ground around the globe or across the globe if you subscribe to the flat earth theory. I'm a little open-minded because I haven't been to space, so I'm going to just trust like my senses, so I'm not going to concretely say which one I stand upon. I'm just on earth. As to what I've been doing to shift consciousness, I realize my online presence has not exactly been anything really. I've maybe been to like 2 or 3 of these hangouts, but Brendan, you had asked me to maybe take over and start up a Paradigm Shift Louisiana about maybe a year ago. And since then, I've been trying to make journeys, like it takes a full hour drive to get down to New Orleans from where I'm at, and heading into the parts of town where people don't really have access to this online content, and they just don't have that type of online presence or availability due to lack of resources, their situations, and trying to outreach and establish a base here so we can have a more grounded paradigm shift foundation to start a real community. Although there has been severe logistical challenges with a lack of resources on my own. I definitely would like to participate in the discussion of the consciousness of animals. The spider in particular has been something that's grasped my mind for a long time. I learned a lot about the spider, the weaver energies, the creative energies, and how they can teach you to write. And a lot of people I've heard, like, generally spider webs are looked as something to get entangled in, but if my interpretation was not entanglements, but rather different possibilities, different roads, and the cross sections are different interactions you have, these synchronicities that you can run into. Speaking of which, there was an 1111 synchronicity on an item, it time-stamped on an item I had purchased just earlier in the day. So shout out to that 1111. I really enjoyed what Michelle was sharing earlier in regards to teaching and learning to be a student. And in my case, it's been kind of the opposite, where I've tried to be the eternal student, and I've resisted personally being a bit of a teacher, yet I've had so many different people telling me to start teaching, to start getting out there and having an online presence. I was compelled by Spirit to get on here tonight, even though generally I don't like public speaking. My ego is definitely resistant to it. No doubt in my mind on that. I don't prefer to add any type of labels towards any of the things I do, like healer or whatnot. I am me. I do what I do. And really, for this full moon's intention, I would like to set the intention down of the long-term plan of eventually getting Paradigm Shift Louisiana up and running, and before leaving to Colorado and starting another community there, having it the groundwork laid out and leaving capable leaders in this locale to continue the work of raising consciousness and continuing the journey to try and shift more and more perspectives, more paradigms into a higher vibration, into a higher frequency. And right now from here, I can see the full moon right off this porch. I wish this camera was a little better so I could show you. It would be fantastic for the broadcast. And I'll cut myself off there because I realize we're short on time. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for giving me the space to speak. Peace and love, y'all.
Awesome. Dylan, thank you so much, man. And it took me a second to put 2 and 2 together. This is Dylan Bordelon, correct?
Yes, this is Dylan Bordelon.
Okay, cool. Awesome, man. Sweet. Yeah, dude, it's I'm happy to be able to connect and to get you synced up, and absolutely, yeah, man. Like, I know again, talking about like getting things happening in Louisiana, like absolutely we can talk more about that. And I really like kind of what you were saying, because again, I think when you're creating a community, specifically within the context of this gamification of the Paradigm Shift Central project, one thing that you kind of want to keep in mind is like building something that will last beyond yourself, which I think can be a very powerful thing, right? So like with what I'm doing with the Paradigm Shift London community, it's already at the point where like if I'm not there, it still functions. And that's kind of like exactly like where I want it to be, right? Like I still continue to facilitate and everything, but eventually the time will come where maybe I'll like move out of the city, right? But then because the community is there, it becomes like self-organized, and there will still be like a certain person who will step in as a facilitator. And again, you know, just hitting on that, like I think like that is like such a powerful idea. Just the idea of like one person can organize 100, can organize thousands. Like one person is enough to just like tell people, be like, hey, let's meet up at this place at this time for this reason, right? But until that one person does that, then like everyone's just kind of like floating around doing their thing and everything like that. But again, you know, like it's so simple. All it takes is just like showing up to do it. And then the real potency in it is the routine and the consistency. So again, you know, it's not just about trying to create a community event and then no one shows up the first week and then just quitting. That's the universe like really trying you and testing you and being like, do you want to do this? Like, are you certain about this? Because like maybe it won't start off the way you plan. But again, even if a community event like doesn't yield the results that you expected it to, that just gives you a place to play around with adapting and overcoming and finding new tactics and new ways to promote and again using the media and using your tools to be able to help invite people and doing free hugs and getting people synced up and everything. So yeah, Dylan, we'll absolutely we'll be able to talk more about that if you're around for the Shift Teams work period. We can do that then or at any other point. I am just going to say, guys, again, as we get ready to wrap up this broadcast in the next like 20-ish minutes, we'll go a little bit over 11:36. We're not just going to try and cut it right down to the second because I want to get the meditation in from Michelle and stuff. After this broadcast, I'm inviting people who are members on the website to join in the voice chat. So I want you guys, this is like a little shift mission for you guys to become familiar with using the voice chat. So that means clicking the voice chat button on the website and then clicking connect and then either getting it to run through your desktop or if you're on mobile, launching it so that you can download the mobile app, which is known as Discord. That's the name of the voice chat platform. And then through there, just becoming familiar with being able to jump in the voice chat super easily. Because what I'm going to do after this broadcast, I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go stand under the full moon and I'm going to be on voice chat. And if you guys are on voice chat, then we can still like chat for a little bit and stuff. So just again, the broadcast is a time when we show up for this live intentional broadcast. Throughout the week, we are still present on the website. We are still working on things on the website. So I just invite you guys, for those of you who are getting into the habit, and that's what we're doing, we're developing habit as a team to just make a habit of, if you bookmark the website, if you haven't yet, add it to like your mobile push buttons, like your top buttons, so that you can access it easily. Even create a folder for it, one for like the main website, one for like the team chat, and one for like the player activity. That's what I do. And yeah, we'll talk more about this in ways of optimizing. But yeah, every day I'm on the website. So if you guys ever need me, that's where you can always find me. And be it a question about creating conscious media or just a question in general or a question about creating community, that's exactly why we're here. We're here to continue to support each other in a lot of amazing ways. So we're gonna move into I think Michelle is gonna do a tarot card reading. Before we do that, I did just want to check real quick because I know Sean and Time Lord are in here, and I did just want to invite you guys, if you guys do want to just like, if I know you've been here listening, and I thank you for that. If you guys do want to say anything, please feel free to just unmute your microphones at this moment if you are there, and there is still time for you guys to just add your voice to the circle, and if not, that's totally cool. And otherwise, okay, it looks like Sean has got his microphone unmuted, so perfect. All right, Sean, I'm just gonna pull your microphone up. Just go ahead and just test your microphone real quick. Just say hello.
All right, testing.
All right, that's coming through. Cool, sweet. All right, Sean, what we'll set things up to just give you the talking stick so that you can talk here for a few moments. And don't feel rushed. Again, you know, we can flex the time around as much as we need to. We are time benders after all. But yeah, Sean, welcome to the team. Welcome to the hangout. And yeah, we'll pass the talking stick over to you. So just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're doing to help shift consciousness, and just introducing yourself to the team and any intentions for the full moon you have. So go ahead, brother.
Let's see. I don't think I have any new intentions. I think we all have the same intentions, pretty much, or working towards it. Let me see. Yeah, I don't need to talk too much. I'm mostly still catching up. You guys have definitely done a lot over the years. I don't remember when I came across you in Paradigm Shift Central. It's probably like a couple years ago, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let them do their thing and check back a couple years later and see where they're at. Definitely, I guess I popped back in at the right time. So you guys, it's right when you change the website. I was like looking around, I was like, the heck's going on here? It's like, I feel like an 80-year-old trying to use a smartphone. I was like, oh, it's been changed. It's like, all right, I'm not retarded. But let's see, stuff I've been up to. Trying to move towards social media marketing strategy, all that stuff. Trying to get out of the old matrix slave jobs. I feel like I'm like right there. There's like this weird spot you get into when you're like switching timelines back and forth and flip-flopping, and it's like everything's 100%, and then the next day you're like clearing all this crap you didn't know you had to get rid of. But let's see, so yeah, started about maybe a year and a half ago, or maybe a little over a year ago. Had the idea. I was doing martial arts. I had like a couple MMA fights, amateur MMA fights back in the day. Training since like 2000. And I had the idea to make teas with roots, like decocting roots, boiling up roots. And I was like, oh, maybe I can sell this to, like, market it to martial arts community, because no one's really doing the root thing. Well, anywhere, except for probably a couple of you guys know what I'm talking about. And let's see. So that started, and then I got into the whole posting things on social media and learning. You realize how much of a huge amount there is to learn about social media. And over time, I did a lot of experimenting, still constantly experimenting. Always checking how stuff works. Realized business thing wasn't going to happen, or not in all the stuff I was trying to do. But it was good because I learned a lot of stuff I needed to learn while trying to chase after carrots and other timeline shit. Sorry about the language. To now, still experimenting with different stuff, but then I started mixing my social media stuff with my qigong practice. And I guess so. Over in China, my qigong practice got like super popular, and they outlawed it, spread a bunch of propaganda, like all kinds of lies and like fake news videos. That's where, like, pretty sure that's probably where I don't know, they've been doing the fake news thing for who knows how long. Like, if anybody knows about China, you can't even search stuff on the internet, or else people show up at your house being like, why are you searching this? So yeah, they started locking them up, putting them in like brainwashing camps, torture camps, all kind of stuff. It's definitely all coming out and proven, because people have been able to come to America that have been in the camps and stuff. So I went from trying to spread jiu-jitsu, like submission grappling, since it's like a gentle art,
I'm not sure if we lost Sean there. Sean, are you still there? Okay, I think we might have glitched there. That's all right. All right. We'll touch base with Sean a bit if he can get his microphone working there. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but that's okay. Okay, it looks like he just joined and rejoined. 1 second. Sean, go ahead if you just want to try again. And I think, oh, yeah, Sean, if you're talking, go ahead. I can see you. Yeah, okay, there we go. All right. Sean, we'll if you can just kind of anything else that you want to share just in another minute or two, and then we'll just keep on schedule and move into stuff next. But yeah, go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, I forgot we're short on time. So let's see, catching up. Where am I at? Switching from martial arts to spreading the whole awakening thing. It's like been studying meditation and all kind of high level stuff since like 2001 or something. I think I had Kundalini awakening from just reading a book. And I was like, whoa, what the fuck? So to now is switching, using my marketing that I learned from trying to spread martial arts and stuff for the whole awakening thing. Oh, and also studied a lot of Gary Vee and his marketing, social media marketing information, which I highly advise everybody do. You can look at my profiles and see the difference from when I started studying his stuff. Everything completely changed, completely different. And like, oh, I can use all this information for spreading the awakening. And then I remembered you.
That's awesome, man.
And checked back in.
Well, like you said, man, good timing, and yeah, I'd love to. I know we mentioned just a little bit earlier, but yeah, I'd love to chat some more and have you even as much as you want to be involved with the social media tactics team, and again, not just creating ways to promote your own content, but stuff for how we can promote for the team in general as well. So, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and again, yeah, there's a lot to talk about there, so we'll definitely get into it. But again, I think that's a beautiful thing when there's so many people out there who are kind of getting into this whole like social media marketing biz, if we want to refer to it as that.
Oh,
but
man.
again, like some people, like, yeah, they're doing it so that they can, like live that lifestyle of traveling the world and just like, and I think that's beautiful. That's still like very much a part of us stepping into our sovereignty and everything, is kind of like being able to find our own freedom and being able to lead by example in the terms of showing how you can live a life that's not like constricted to the regular norms of like 9 to 5 and everything like that. But yeah, continuing to do that so that more and more of us can step into our own freedom within our abilities to live our lives as creators and everything. And I think a lot of people within the Paradigm Shift Central project, as it naturally attracts the intention that I put out there, are in some ways their own entrepreneur. And that's a topic that we'll get into as we evolve the project. I think just kind of like spiritual entrepreneurship is a very important topic, and there's something, and there's other stuff I'll talk to you about a little bit later on. But yeah, marketing, social entrepreneurship, spiritual entrepreneurship, it's all important. And again, it's not just for.
It is a lot of information.
Yeah, there's a lot of information there, and again, it's using that information for altruistic reasons, I think, is when it gets really exciting. So yeah, sweet. Sean, is there any last thing you just want to mention real quick? And
No, I'm good. We got time, lots of future to catch up on
good.
stuff.
Sounds good, man. And I'd love to hear more about even just like your insights and your philosophy related to like your martial arts and just like how that ties in with your own perspectives of spirituality and stuff another time. So
Word.
sounds good, man. Sweet. Awesome. Sean, thank you so much. And if you just want to post in the chats, like for anybody here, if you guys can just post in the chat your Facebook profiles, that will allow me to add your information to the show notes. Any other links that you want included as well. For anybody listening to this, anybody that you've heard on the show, check the show notes the day after, which will be in the comments on YouTube or in the comments on the main link on the website. And you'll be able to see links to people's Facebook profiles and stuff. So guys, it's 11:36 right now. Again, we do have the ability to be a little bit flexible, but I do want to be able to honor the idea of not drawing this out longer than it needs to. But we do have a couple other people in the circle, and I do want to be able to give them the opportunity to share their voice as much as they just feel called to in this minute, even though, again, we're just kind of getting to the end of it. And we did have Kat, and we did have Time Lord in here as well. So I just wanted to be able to invite either of you guys, if you guys wanted to just say hello and anything you felt called to share into the circle. Please feel free to do that. So Kat or Time Lord, if you guys want to say anything, just unmute yourself in this moment and I'll bring your microphones up. So if you're wanting to do that, and Michelle, thank you for holding tight. I know you're being super just like anxiously patient. So Kat or Time Lord, did you guys want to okay, Time Lord says, I'm okay for now. Next time. Awesome. Playing StarCraft 2. Sounds good, Time Lord. Thank you. All right, so I think Kat is going to be the last person that will get added into the circle tonight. So Kat, I'm just going to bring up your microphone real quick. If you can just test your microphone now, go ahead.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, sounds perfect.
Okay, cool. I was going to answer earlier, but I had like a massive spoonful of vegan ice cream in my mouth, so I couldn't.
Perfect. All right,
so
so
full moon, treat yourself night.
full moon
I'm still
and ice
coming
cream.
through okay?
Yeah, it sounds good. So Kat, I'll pass the talking stick to you. And again, you know, like say as much or as little about yourself as you want, and how you're helping change the world, or anything that you feel called to share in this moment, and maybe any intentions related to the full moon that you want to share. So go ahead, Kat.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being
here. So my name is Kat. I'm from Toronto/Vaughan, Ontario. And I'm really excited to be here tonight with you guys and just getting to hear all your origin stories and your stories of where you're going right now, and goals and future plans and present moments and all this kind of lovely this sharing circle is really awesome to be able to participate in. I guess before I really start out with intentions, I can give you kind of a overview of where I've been in the past year and how my life has been since, I guess, around the springtime last year, to kind of give you a background idea about what my intentions are now. But yeah, so about a year ago, I had a major shift in a couple areas of my life, one of them being my living space. I moved from the city back home, and then I moved to Vancouver to pursue studies in shiatsu massage therapy. And that played a huge role in my journey of learning to become a healer, which I'm still obviously continually growing into. There's an infinite amount of knowledge and wisdom that is gained through that, so I'll never stop learning that. But so there was the move and going to a different city, which is a big thing. And then, when you travel anywhere, whether it's for leisure or for adventure or to complete some kind of task like I was doing, it's hard not to have some kind of expectation tied to that. And I found that within my journey going to the West Coast, to Vancouver, Canada, I was kind of like, my eyes were like, wide open to all this stuff that was happening that I wasn't even prepared for. Like I had a lot of expectations of how my journey was going to be. And there was a lot of amazing connections that I got to make, but there was also a lot of like isolation and grit and darkness that I had to go through that I didn't expect, because most of my time traveling to anywhere new, I've really been in the flow. I've really surrendered to that sense of wanderlust. So that for me was like the first big shift in my life, in moving. And I'm a very grounded person. Like I feel very connected to earth energy. I'm a Capricorn. Like my color that really grounds me is green. Like for me, when I'm not in a place where I can find a space or stability, then that totally throws me off guard. So for the full moon right now, I really want to cultivate a sense of like home in wherever I go. And right now it's looking like it's going to be in one place, and I'm going to be staying in one city. So that's really exciting for me, to be able to explore what's in front of me, and to really heal a lot of my past wounds that have come up in the past year. I've had some trauma come up with my sexuality. I've had some issues. Well, I don't even want to say issues, because mental health, I don't want to label it as such, but definitely have felt some struggles with my mental health in regards to depression kind of coming back through all these changes that I haven't really witnessed in a really, really long time. The last time I've ever been depressed was probably about 5 years ago, and then I kind of moved through it, and it came back again in a different way, as life does. So right now I'm finding that with the springtime, the energy of like this renewal and this growth, I'm finding that I want to be able to really cultivate a sense of authentic, unashamed expression. And I want to do that through writing and through art and creating conversation and making posts and creating conscious media as well. And be able to weave my words into a new, exciting way so that I can create a lot of experiences for myself and for community. And my intention, the bigger intention behind all of that is that once I do that, I invite other people to also follow suit and do the same. So yeah, just really stepping into a place of like creating clear, communicative action and yeah, more love to the self and in turn more love to others and more presence to others to be in a place of service. And also working on my business, which is to do more massage and that kind of thing. What else? What else? Yeah, this full moon's like really resonant for me. My sign, my moon sign is in Sagittarius, so I'm finding that I'm definitely feeling like a huge resonance with. Right now, I'm feeling like the message for me is cultivating more of an emotional maturity and really respecting my own personal boundaries. And I felt that has come up within the last 2 years of my life, and now it's like rippling and speeding up even more. So, yeah. I don't know if there's anything else that comes off the top of my head right now. Oh, part of that journey also, I just remembered, was getting a haircut. I just chopped off all my hair a couple of days ago, and that was a big, big part of letting go, shedding the past part of myself. So that's been definitely a big humbling experience so far. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Kat. That was wonderful and very calming and captivating.
Thank you.
So, beautiful. Awesome. Yeah. And again, you know, like I just want to be able to like take a moment here to just kind of like acknowledge like Kat and I, she's been in the broadcast before. Some of you would recognize her in the past, maybe even have seen her in some of the videos that I've done. And as much as I just kind of like want to share it just for the sake of like embarrassing her and stuff like that, but every now and then Kat gets to touch my butt because Kat is like my partner and stuff like that. So it's part of a very exclusive club. But I just wanted to like acknowledge and just like kind of say is that, you know, like, thank you for being here, Kat, and thank you for sharing, because I've talked to you about this before and everything, but I feel, you know, like having been with you not just through the good times but through the hard times as well has constantly allowed me to see you transform, and especially I think the most beautiful times when I've been able to witness you transform are actually kind of like when I'm not always present and when I'm actually able to step back, because I love seeing who you are when I'm not there, because I feel like that is who you are and everything like that. And sometimes as partners, that can happen when like you're so close to a partner and you kind of become like a version of yourself that is you. But then, you know, like I want to see like the part of the partner that is kind of like that whole self to begin with, outside of the relationship. But yeah, like it's just been very inspiring for my own journey to see your journey, and in turns have both of our journeys continue to uplift each other. And I feel like this is something, you know, we'll be able to get into conversations later on about, but you know, like what does a conscious relationship look like, and the idea of like continually building each other up and challenging each other and calling each other out on bullshit and being sensitive and diving deeper with compassion and being able to like say, you know, like being able to be very unselfish in a relationship, especially when it comes to acknowledging parts of a relationship that may make us feel uncomfortable, but then acknowledging like why we feel uncomfortable about that and realizing if it's like a selfish thing or if it's actually like something that we can overcome in the moment. And again, you know, this is something that I want to be able to talk with Kat and have other people involved as well, but being your partner through again, like what you were saying related to experiences related to like mental health has been something very important for me too, because I feel that through being on that journey with you, it's actually a journey that's bigger than just us. Like it's bigger than us in a sense, is that like as we navigate the space of mental health and just kind of, you know, again, using that as a label or whatever, I feel in turn we're like helping and create an experience that can kind of like ripple out through others in the community, through conversations such as me mentioning here, through future conversations. And so, I mean, that's something I want to get into. But yeah, I did just want to say that, you know, like for everything that we acknowledge within our own individual life, not just for Kat, not just for me, but for everything that we recognize as something that might be, you know, like a struggle or an obstacle. There's also the story of perseverance and courage and determination that is there as well. So really just acknowledging, recognizing, you know, again, and we kind of come into this reality for a reason. So if we're coming in through this reality to experience again, you know, something related to a trauma, then we are not just there to be we are not doing that because we as a soul are trying to victimize ourselves, but we are doing it so that we can rise through it, so that we can evolve through it, so that we can help you know, shed the patterns and kind of just like change the system and stuff. So I mean, like, you know, if you're like coming into this reality and be like, yeah, you know, like I'd love to be able to help out with mental health. What's the best way to do that? Experience it within your own reality. That way, so it's not just something you're talking about, but it's something you know, and it's something that's personal and it's intimate to you. But again, like that in itself allows you to develop a relationship that allows you to continue to evolve through it as well. Everything's a teacher in a very simple way. Again, I want to talk just as a heads up for people. I do want to get into the top. And again, you know, we have a mental health team within the Paradigm Shift community. So if anybody's interested in that, check out the team, check out the forums in there, create discussion. You guys are creating your own meetup times, and we're getting into it's evolving. But yeah, you know, there are going to be ongoing conversations related to mental health and, you know, trauma in general within the community. Because again, like that's important. As we heal, you know, we are here to heal. It's a very important thing. But yeah, Kat, I think you're amazing, and I am anxiously waiting to see your new haircut. And that's not like, and I'm not like trying to say like, oh, like how come you haven't showed it to me yet? Like I'm actually just like, the longer you don't show it to me, like the more anxiously excited I get. So even if I have to wait to a person, that's cool with me. I like being patient. Being patient is sexy. So that's all I'll say. Builds the energy, you know, stoke the fire, right? Anyways, yeah. Okay. So, Kat, was there anything else that you want to say before I embarrass myself anymore?
Is my microphone still?
Yeah.
You can hear
yeah,
me?
it's good.
All
You're good. Go ahead.
Okay. We're chuckling in the back. Yeah. No. I also want to say, like, it's been an honor being on this journey with you, and also with everyone else that's been participating and been part of this. I know I haven't been. You know, I kind of come here and there, and it kind of ebbs and flows with me, like the level of participation that I'm involved in. But I'm always super appreciative of the work that everyone's doing here just by showing up, and the work that you, Brendan, have been doing. Like the website looks kick-ass. I'm so excited for what's gonna happen, and different things that are gonna be evolving out of it. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yes, exactly. The work that we are all doing here. And again, you know, I'll just say this as we get ready to move into our meditation. And again, Kat, thank you so much. Is really reflecting on what it means to be a team. Because that is what we are doing. We are building a team here. We are building relationships here. And yeah, it's cool. We're creating an awesome broadcast, but what we're also creating is like an ongoing relationship between, you know, like me and Michelle, me and Anna, me and Dylan, me and Joe, me and Kat, me and Sean, me and Time Lord, me and everybody in the live chat. Shout out to you guys as well. You know, like we create this ongoing narrative, this ongoing story. So yeah, it's a very powerful thing. And you know, just thinking about that team aspect, your momentum becomes part of a shared momentum. So like when you go out there and you're doing your stuff on a daily basis, it's not just you. You're not just by yourself. Like, you get to go do things, and then you can come back to the next broadcast and be like, yeah, this is what I did. You know, like, I was doing free hugs. I created this article. And so just being able to share and show up not only creates accountability, but it also helps accelerate things, mirrors for each other's growth. We can see each other through ourselves. Who do you become when you show up within a team? I think that's a very important thing, right? You know who you are by yourself. You're discovering who you are by yourself, but who are you within a team, right? Like, who do you show up as? What do you bring? And that's where, like, within the Paradigm Shift Central project, we have the shift teams, because within the teams, like, there's kind of like different areas that people can kind of find their place within. And again, you know, think of the Paradigm Shift project as like a ship, you know, Paradigm Shift ship, the USS Paradigm Shift Central, right? So, like, find your place within the ship kind of thing. And there is a place for all of us to be able to contribute and be involved. Okay, guys, I just want to be able to take a moment here to just give a huge shout out to everyone who's supporting the project already through our Patreon at patreon.com/Brendan Culleton. And of course, for those of you who aren't familiar, you can check it out and you can sign up there. And I would love to be able to get some new members signed up within the time frame of this broadcast. So if anybody wants to sign up during this broadcast live in this moment, or at least within like the next day or two of it, please feel free to do that, and I'll put in some bonus buttons for you. And again, the way how the Team Patreon works, and allow me to explain this, because this is very, 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 very important, because this is about creating foundation. The Paradigm Shift Central Team Patreon is a platform where people can donate monthly micro donations to be able to help support the project. So all that we're asking for is $3 to $5. And then when you do that, you get your Shifter Booster Kit, which is worth about $70. So this is where it really gets awesome. And those, again, come with the buttons and the free hug signs, and they help give you the tools to accelerate the shift and play the game at an accelerated level where you are. You don't need the buttons, but they are very exciting to be able to use. And again, you link people back to the main website with them. The way how the Team Patreon works is, again, you know, like through micro donations, when we all give a little, we all give a lot. This is a really cool thing. The Patreon, as it is right now, it is currently at $7.15 per month. That's how much we're getting from it. That goes to be able to pay the website costs. It goes to be able to support my own livelihood as an artist. So yes, part of the Patreon is like going to being able to help me afford my own living, such as paying rent, since I work on the project as a full-time job as director. This is where we are as we're building up the project. As it evolves, this is what it is getting into. What I want to be able to do is, as a media production company, is be able to help provide you guys with compensation for the content that you're creating and for the time that you're investing in this project. So down the road, as we continue to evolve this, again, I'm thinking long term, when we start having like $2,000, $3,000 a month, what we'll be able to do is have some of that money available for people working in the project. So pretty much we're able to like hire people. So this is where you get into this idea of like spiritual entrepreneurship and that sort of regenerative model, because that's what it is. It's a regenerative model. It's not just sustainable, it's regenerative. You think of it as a toroidal field. So for anybody listening to this, if you're like, whoa, you know, I really like this project, I've been listening to it for a while, if you contribute $3 or $5 a month, then like that is like an energy exchange that you're creating with the universe, and you will get out of that. You are not just giving, you are receiving through that process as well. And so again, you know, like if you want to be involved and you want support, be sure to check out the Team Patreon. And yeah, just it's going to be very exciting as the project evolves, you know, because again, I want to be able to not only support the Patreon for the project, but as it evolves, we're going to be supporting Patreons for other people within the project. And you can already see this on the website, where you can see like support these shifters on Patreon and stuff like that. So as much as like this Patreon is already successful and continuing to become more successful, I want other people to create their own Patreon so that more and more of us can pretty much do what we feel called to do. And the Patreon is a great way to be able to help do it. So if you haven't yet, patreon.com, patreon.com. Check it out. Maybe you want to create your own Patreon, and there's going to be a lot of people that will be able to feature through the Patreon. And so again, thank you everyone for your support through that. It's incredibly just been making everything so possible. And yeah, much love. And our next team milestone will be to get it up to 800. If we can do that by the end of the month, that will be beautiful. That's, again, what I'll be working on. But again, I'll be working alongside you guys in doing that. So again, huge shout out and thank you to the Team Patreon supporters. So, and if on the website you're looking to sign up and you're just like, where's the link? Just go to the menu, and then you'll see the link to Team Patreon and Shifter Booster Kits under the menu button. So very easy to do. Okay, let's just take a breath here. And again, reflecting on the full moon, I just want to be able to share my intentions, and then we're going to pass it over to Michelle, and we're going to wrap up this broadcast. So my own intentions, I just allow is to allow myself to breathe, and trusting that in doing so, things will naturally unfold, naturally unblossom, that the apple tree will apple. My intention is to continue to step into my own potential as a creator, as a leader, as a captain amongst many captains, to continue to help facilitate as a techno shaman within this virtual space aboard this digital metaphysical ship that we are creating together, to continue to be very calm and yet excited, to continue to take simple steps and yet great leaps, to continue to be very patient in tending to the garden and to the fruit that we are growing. My intentions are to refine my own willpower, to notice within myself the places in which my willpower can be better, to challenge myself to do that, to understand that my thoughts are not necessarily always my own, and to not necessarily judge myself when certain thoughts come through, but to realize that I am, in many ways, the gatekeeper of the thoughts which I choose to identify with. So our job is not just to purify our thoughts simply, but rather to be conscious enough to choose which ones we act upon. And so I want to continue to act upon my thoughts that are free of selfishness and focused towards community and creativity. And so as I breathe in this beautiful air, I allow myself to come through this fear, stepping into what we are knowing, stepping into the places we are going. The flow moves forth from the river of our creativity coming into us from the moments of this captivity, in which is oh so fine, oh so prime, each breath and each moment, oh so divine. We allow ourselves to be present. We allow ourselves to be here. We allow ourselves to tap into the warrior and the guardian spirit that has been with us throughout the years, reflecting on not just who we are now, but on our state as an eternal being, on the journeys that we have led that have brought us into this time in which we are seeing, recognizing the party that is this earth, recognizing the duty that has come with this rebirth, and listening to the promises that we made to ourselves, that we made to the whole, that we made to the true elf. And so as I bring forth the magic with the breath of my heart, I bring forth the invitation for all of us to create our art, for all of us to dance our songs under the full moon and its light, and to remind ourselves that it shines so bright because the sun is the light that is within us, without a doubt, and it is a true sight. So with sight beyond sight, inner vision, I bring this through to our final moments as we continue to step into our activation. Ouroboros, full circle, wholeness. Aho, much love. Sweet, awesome, thank you guys. All right, so with that said, it's 12 a.m. Again, maybe these broadcasts will end at 11:36 some days, maybe they won't, but nonetheless, we're gonna move on and we're gonna wrap this up with a little bit of whatever Michelle feels called to to wrap this up with. So Michelle, I'm gonna bring your microphone up in the next second, and go ahead. You can keep your eyes closed and just go ahead and talk, and anything you want to say. The talking stick is now in your lap.
My intention is to step into creating containers for sound healing ceremonies. So I'm going to offer a prayer, and it's going to perhaps lead into a meditation.
I just invite
So
everyone to
I wanted
meditate here.
to close, yeah, to just close your eyes. Yeah, you heard with the same thing I heard. Yeah, so just close your eyes, and I'm going to channel sounds for us to heal. And my intention that I heard to call in is through a lot of the talking that I heard from some particular beings, and it was resonant, and it's through all of us. We all have it. There's two intentional qualities I want to call in. One is a releasing and letting go of all of the things that don't serve us because it is the full moon. And the other is the healing of the pain and the trauma that we experience as we walk on this planet and on this earth. So I just feel called to acknowledge that.
Just keep breathing, guys. Michelle got teleported there for a moment. Not exactly sure why, but nonetheless. Just connect with your breath here. And just allow Michelle's voice to still be present, because I think it's actually kind of funny to think about the idea that she could probably still be singing right now and doesn't realize that she's disconnected from the hangout. So she may just keep singing her song for the next few moments. And if you listen closely, you can still hear it. So just take a couple breaths here, guys. Gentle inhales. Just allow the heart of the moon to open up your heart. The heart of the moon. Wow, what is that? The heart of the sun. So just allow the full moon to open your heart, to feel that connection. Just invite you guys to put your hands on your chest. And just in here, take a deep, gentle breath. And just imagine your own body just filling up with light emanating from the heart, filling your body. And as you are here, just visualizing all of us connected as a grid around the earth, single points of light, and just emanating fractals and tendrils in all of the many directions, outwards and inwards, and seeing the grid that we create around the earth for each person connected to this broadcast, for each person connected to this story. So just continue to breathe here as you feel the light that connects us, as you feel the light that is always there. Just remembering the journey. So just continue to breathe here. So allow this message, allow this broadcast to continue to fill your heart with inspiration. You are not alone. You are here for a reason. You are here as something very important, bigger than you may even know. You are here to play. You are here to experience. You are here to create. You are here to learn. You are here to love. You are here because you chose to be here, because you have made the intentional choice to contribute your medicine, your experience, your love, knowing that it does make a difference. Each one of us a superhero, each one of us with our own unique special abilities. Just take another breath here. Do you hear the call? When you're ready, gently, just open your eyes, return your awareness to the space around you. Awesome. And Michelle is back in the Hangout. Michelle, if you're there, please feel free to say hello.
Hey. I don't know when I went off. I just
Yeah, I know we were saying. I was just like, I'm like, if you listen closely, I bet you she's still singing because she doesn't know that she got disconnected.
totally not at all, but it must have been meant to be somehow.
It was good.
That's
It was-
time.
yeah, no, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Did you have a card that you want to draw, or should I do that?
Sure, I did. Put
Did you
a
wanna do
deck
that?
in my hand.
Okay, well,
I
okay,
didn't
perfect.
even I didn't even have to draw it. I pulled it up, at the bottom of the deck is the Lady of Sirius, the Lady of the Stars.
Cool.
Yeah, she's a priestess of Sirius. I can explain that if people want to know what that is, for those of us who don't.
Yeah, sure. Give us
Um,
the Cole's Notes version,
so
what it represents.
Sirius, yeah, Sirius is a wisdom constellation of wisdom energy. The priestess of Sirius, in this particular deck, which is the Isis deck, she amplifies the collective energy of whatever other card that she pulls. So I'm actually curious to pull another card to see what that is. But it's this higher consciousness actually that I attune with and speak about all constantly. And it's this wisdom consciousness where we create temples and we talk about being teachers and being students. And it's like this eternal learning of the skies and the stars and that intergalactic wisdom that we draw down in order to attune our higher selves to our human selves. I believe that Syrian consciousness seeded this planet and kind of gave the little supreme gift. And it's amazing. The other card that I pulled is Temple of Lapis Lazuli, which, do you guys know that blue stone lapis? It's like used by the ancient Egyptians, goddess of the ancient skies. And it's that same frequency and that same divine energy of the oldest wisdom that seeds like the Tibetan consciousness and the I was going to say the Europeans, no, the Egyptians, and Machu Picchu, and all of, again, everyone who's built a pyramid on this earth. And yeah, someone just wrote Medicine Buddha. It's awesome, Medicine Buddha. I just read that the other day. But yeah, Avalokitesvara. So yeah, very beautiful. I know that there's really beautiful things. I don't know if we want to go into them, but I can just read the little paragraph in the very beginning, the small one. It says, "Your soul is very ancient, beloved, and does not only herald from the earth. It holds much special wisdom of the star peoples from civilizations far and near, with unique high vibrational awareness that can help humanity transition." We were speaking about this earlier. From a civilization based in fear to a love-based culture. You are guided to come into deeper acceptance of your own inner knowing now.
I dig it. It's awesome. Sweet. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Michelle. Is there any closing words for as we close the circle from you yourself? You wanna share?
I could sing again, but I might short circuit everything.
That's what happened. Yeah, that's what it was. Your frequency was just too much for the internet to handle. It's a good thing.
You are very ancient, beloved. No, well, yeah, I don't know.
Awesome.
All I love you. I'm Olive. Olive.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. Awesome. Sweet. Okay, guys. Thank you again for everyone being involved with this broadcast. And again, just this story continues. This story is much more than this broadcast. And I just invite you guys to continue to carry the shift with you. I say that and just continue to choose to be the change that you wish to see. Very simple, but very, very, very big and very huge and very important. And you're already doing it. So, thank you for doing it. So your shift mission for the week is to think about, what would it take to organize like a conscious community event in your area, and what would you want it to be? Would you want it to just be like open-minded discussion, meditation, like a traditional paradigm shift meeting, or maybe would you want it to be like something sound oriented, or maybe do you want it to be a specific topic that perhaps you feel called to share about? Just think about that. We're not asking you to go ahead and start it, but thinking about it is one of the first steps. So just think about that. So again, guys, in terms of the project and everything like that, the next broadcast is going to be on the Tuesday coming up, which is on June 13th, which is Dream Class, and then on June 15th, which is Destiny School for the Consciousness of Animals. You can find all those links through the main website as they go online throughout the week at paradigmshiftcentral.com. Create your profile if you haven't yet. And there are actually 6 people that signed up with new profiles during this broadcast. So welcome to those new people. And again, you guys can always create your profile, and I think that's pretty awesome. And there's currently about 16, 17 people still tuned in live for this broadcast. So again, guys, these routines, these habits, these are a very, very awesome thing that we're getting into. So continue to come back for more broadcasts, get involved, listen to past ones if they're new to you, and invite your friends. Tell them about Paradigm Shift Project, about Paradigm Shift Central. And again, creating the conscious media. Think about what you can create for a Quest journal. Think about, like what you have within your own perspective of reality that you can share, be it a synchronicity, be it a dream, be it a vision, an intention, a poem, a video. Practice creating through the website, and we'll be working together on that. Again, to mention, on Monday will be the Shift Teams work period. So if you haven't yet and you're already on the website, you can check out not only the shift teams, but also the shift assignments, which is a spreadsheet, which we didn't get into in this broadcast, but it's very simple. And you can check that out in terms of some of the assignments that we got. Some of them are basically just brainstorming right now. So brainstorming social media related to the mental health, also brainstorming tactics related assignments related to like the music team and the memes team and everything related to that. So again, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on every Monday, join us on the website for the virtual work period, and we can work together. And again, I look forward to being able to collaborate with you guys as a super awesome team through this super awesome real world game that we got going on. So very cool. All right. That's pretty much it. I'm just gonna open up the circle for any closing, and if anybody just had anything else that they just want to share for all the other dreamers out there waking up, please feel free to do that now. If not, there's always more opportunities, and we'll wrap this up. So if anybody wants to, I think Anna, did you want to say something before we wrap this up?
Yeah, real quick.
Go ahead,
When you were talking about can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. When you were talking about the 10 years that you've been operating, what you're doing here, I had an opportunity about 3 years ago to sit down at dinner with Steve Wynn, who's a big Vegas guy. And I didn't really think he was listening to what I was saying, but I was telling him about what I was doing, and he like shook his finger in my face and he said, "You're going to make it. You're going to make it, because the 10-year formula." And he's like, "Have you heard of the 10-year formula?" And I said, "No." And so he explained, that if you continue to stay focused with focused intention every day, showing up and, creating the preparation, that there is a formula that says at the 10th year of, it's a daily, even if it's just one small thing, but it's a daily effort and returning, that 10-year point really is the turning point where the magic happens. So I just wanted to tell you about that, because, all of us who are going through this process, we've been working for a long time. Even if we started in childhood, we're working hard. And I'm really thankful that I found this group, because, understanding the magic that's happening in the ether, that it's the 4th dimension, that, we're here in the 3rd, and the 5th is where we're going. But the ether is the 4th. and by these collective circles, we're making it happen. And that 10-year, every 10-year cycle is, in a quantum jump. So that was it.
Well, thank you, Anna, for sharing that. Yeah, again, that just kind of continues to sort of like reflect. For me, it just like reaffirms that, like, yeah, we're creating something awesome here as a team. And just again, like, finishing up the broadcast, I'm excited to be able to celebrate with you guys that, in sync with this almost being 10 years of Paradigm Shift. It's also coming up to my own Saturn return this July 18th is going to be my 30th birthday. So for me, like, this is going to be, it's just like, just kind of step back and I'm just like, wow, like, I'm really like excited about not just what I've created, but like what I've put the work into that allows all of us to continue to create together. So, like, I'm the part of us that said, like, yeah, I volunteer to create some sweet project with a badass website, and then we're going to work together and stuff like that. So as much as this project has been in 10 years of ongoing evolution, I keep saying this, it is still just beginning. And that's the exciting part, guys, is that we are still just getting started. So thank you again to everyone for being involved with this project. And again, if you guys are looking for schedules, just go to the website. I will just mention that if you sign up for the push notifications, you can get notifications to your mobile devices for reminders for live broadcasts. Again, just go to the menu and click enable push notifications. Very simple. And yeah, that's pretty much all we got to mention within this broadcast, and stay tuned for future broadcasts. And again, just jump on the main website, bookmark it, make a habit of checking it every day. Help out with the team by sharing links, sharing articles that you read, and checking in with the live chat. And of course, the Patreon at patreon.com/Brendan Culleton. Check that out when you can. Sign up when you're able to. And again, the Patreon is supporting the team in the sense that it is supporting, like, being able to grow it to the point where we're literally able to, like, continue to hire people on for the production work, and supporting each other as a community of creators and artists and shifters, so dreamers. So very beautiful. Awesome. Again, guys, if you're tuned into this broadcast, I just invite you to jump into the live chat on the website at this point, and even jump in the voice chat, and I'll jump on the voice chat. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to get some fresh air. I'm going to go get some moon juice, and I'm going to stay up all night and do some editing. And as always, I thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Much love. And I just invite everyone who is in the broadcast here to just join me in unmuting yourself, and let's all do like a collective moon howl. Make some noise for the people tuning into this. So guys, I just invite you to unmute yourself, send some love to the people listening to this, guys. Make some noise. Wolf tribe forever. We only live forever, so the wolf within me sees and honors the wolf within you. So guys, let's say goodnight to everyone listening into this. You guys can say goodnight alongside with me. So again, guys, ParadigmShiftCentral.com. Thank you so much for tuning in again. Until next time, much love, and we will see you guys in the future. Say goodnight, guys. Say goodnight. Good night. We love you guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Love you.
Keep it shifty, guys. Much love. See you then.